Welcome to Progressive Discussions, Hard-Hitting Truth. This is the Progressive Piranha, and I'm with my co-host, the one and only Damien the Wolf Owens. How are you doing, sir, this evening?
Well, I'm doing all right. It's a wonderful 46 degrees outside with a nice breeze, and it was raining all day today, and I think the creek's up and flooding. But other than that, it's all right. We're supposed to get some warmer weather next weekend. It's supposed to hit 80 probably next Saturday or Sunday.
Well, it was about the same temperature here, but with a great deal of wind gust.
Oh yeah, the wind picked up a lot.
And rain. We had the three. We had the low, unseasonably low temperature, the rain, and the wind gust.
Oh yeah. Last night, my wife missed some really good lightning shots because one struck just right down here at the end of the road, and when the thunder struck, oh, it was loud. It shook the whole house.
Yeah, well, you got to have rubber on your soles, and you have to stay away from trees. And that's the two things I learned. And if you play golf, don't do it. Check the weather.
Yeah, I don't play golf, so you ain't got to worry with it. But she likes going out and watching storms. So she'll stand out on the front porch and she'll try to catch like the lightning in the upper atmosphere and get some really good pictures.
Well, the reason why it smells so damn great after a thunderstorm, it has to do with positive versus negative ion. It's like the ionizing air purifiers. It gives out, in other words, the negative ions is what you want, I believe, to cause all the solid matter and impurities in the air to settle to the floor. That's how they work. And that aroma that you get after a thunderstorm, after the rain, and then you see the rainbow, it's that fresh smell that has to do with positive versus negative ions. So let's sink our piranha teeth into this. Okay.
Get him, Piranha Madonna.
Bernie Sanders, as everyone well knows, capitulated, and just like he did in 2016, and is backing the corporatists. May I say the corporatist, which I strongly believe has a case of mild dementia and could be a closet pedophile. And he's a corporatist. He's a centrist, which means he's on he gets his palm greased by the fat cats. He's on the tape. So, so his Bernie Sanders advisors, from what I understand, they were pleading with him to resign. Joe Biden is winning all the primaries and gathering up all the delegates. He's collecting all the delegates. You don't stand a chance. Give it up. Quit. So his advisors were probably closet DNC neoliberals trying to talk him out of it. And then Barack Obama, once again, of course, had private meetings with him like he did in 2016. He doing the same thing. Maybe the DNC, Tom Perez did the same thing, talked him out of it. And since Bernie Sanders is not a big boy now, he's not an adult yet. He's still in high school. He listened to all of them. I mean, he's only in his upper 30s. So he capitulated, but from what I understand, he's still planning on leaving his name on the ballot. Now, of course, he can't leave his name on the ballot as a Democrat, because if Joe Biden has all the delegates and won most of the primaries, he will be representing the Democratic Party. So I'm assuming Bernie Sanders, if his raisin balls get a little bigger and hairier, he will leave his name on the ballot as an independent, which I hope he does. Now, I still think he's raisin ball Sanders, because, you know, he took all those donations again, only to back out and suck up to a centrist, corporatist, on the take Democrat. Both parties are the same. They're both corrupt capitalists, greed motivated. They both represent evil capitalism. Capitalism is the true enemy. It is the enemy, just like it says in the title. Nothing positive ever came out of capitalism unless you're wealthy and a greedy, stingy bastard. If you're part of the top 2%, then capitalism is for you. If you're part of the oligarch, which is the top 1%, well, then you're a scumbag. Capitalism is for you. But if you're part of the 98%, capitalism is truly the enemy. Now, I posted a video from a nurse on Alpha Males, a registered nurse that didn't want to mention any names, but she has a friend who works in one of the major New York City hospitals. And she pretty much said that they are neglecting all of the severe cases of the people that are being incubated and on the respirators. They're just giving up, and they're just leaving them there, just waiting for them to take the big dirt sleep, to assume room temperature. So in other words, what she said, what her good friend was telling her, was they weren't even showing an interest in treating these patients and caring for them, which doesn't surprise me. Well, how come nothing surprises me anymore? You know, I mean, you've been analyzing this entire situation. There's been lots of misinformation, and that the doctor with the shaved head said that a lot of things you hear and read on the mainstream media, as well as social media, has not been totally accurate. Let's put it that way. I'm putting it mildly. The numbers are not adding up correctly because people are not coming to their conclusions with the proper scientific data and analyzing it the way they're supposed to, the way they did it in the Asian countries. And in the United States, it's all screwed up. They're not. The fact is, they're lying about. They're not giving all the facts about the malaria drug with the high amounts of zinc. They're not mentioning all the success that the treatment has produced. Instead they're saying they're killing people at the Veterans Hospital with that protocol. Did do you people out there that are old enough, did you believe the government when they told you to crash at Roswell, New Mexico was a weather balloon? Did you believe that? Well, if the government lies about extraterrestrials in Roswell, New Mexico, how do you expect them to give you all of the accurate facts concerning the pandemic?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, since we finished with the Confederacy, and I know you have been keeping your eyes and ears open,
Mm-hmm.
and you've been watching videos, and you've been reading articles, and maybe you've been doing your own research.
Mm-hmm.
What is your take on what is going on? Because the one or two doctors that are making a lot of sense about flattening the curve and about reopening areas of the United States, which makes a lot of sense. Reopening areas that are not densely populated, that are that have a very low rate, if any. You know, your Idahos, your Utahs, your Montanas, your Dakotas. There are parts of the country that are not densely populated, where it is definitely logical to reopen the economies in these states. New York City, New Jersey, no. New Orleans, no. But there's plenty of other, from sea to shining sea states where the economies can be reopened wisely. I don't know if Las Vegas, Nevada is quite ready yet. I predict it will be ready because Nevada is mostly Mojave Desert. But Las Vegas, crowded casinos, I don't know. But I would say if it's done intelligently and scientifically, that many states can be reopened. And I think that we're kept in the dark about this drug protocol treatment that's being purposely kept in the dark and hidden because maybe the fat cats, the powers that be, want to come out with that vaccine, that so-called vaccine where they're going to price gouge the hell out of everybody. When I say so-called, I mean we don't know what the fuck it's going to be. So what is your take on all this crap?
Well, everything I've been saying from the get-go, I stand behind everything I've said now 100,000%. Now, I am completely convinced that this whole entire thing was a plandemic, a scamdemic, and a hoax. And after watching that David Icke interview and doing my own research into everything he has said, he actually, for once, is making sense. And here is how and why he is making sense. Okay, so first off, when he says there is no COVID-19, at first I was taken back, like, wait a minute. So let me see what his line of reasoning is, because I didn't want it to sound like it was a crackpot conspiracy theorist. But actually, he made a lot of sense. So he's been using a lot of the information that we have been presented against them, the same way, they're trying to present everything to us and shove everything down our throats. And I said, okay, so this would be a great first step in terms of doing this. So he's going along with what he has been fed, like so many other of us have been fed, that this virus has originated in Wuhan, China. But yet, it is suspicious that it did come from an area where there was a virology lab where they experiment with viruses. But then yet, there's a big problem with this. Okay, so they noticed some people around this particular market were getting sick. Well, they were not ruling it as anything specific. They were not testing or diagnosing anything. They were just seeing what this was based solely on the symptoms that the that those that were sick were displaying. Well, at first they were so quick to say, oh, it was just the flu, maybe an upper respiratory infection. But then, yet, when they actually extracted the sample material for testing to see exactly what it is, they drew it from fluid from the lungs, and they actually came to the conclusion that when looking at this particular fluid and analyzing it, it doesn't really contain any virus material. That, in fact, all it contains is specific genetic material that a lot of people throughout the world actually have within their bodies and their immune systems. So, theoretically, one out of every seven or two out of every seven people might particularly have this virus. So, with all that being said, if they're looking for just this specific genetic material and the testing is based just solely off this genetic material, then theoretically 1 to 2 billion people could test positive based on it, even though they could be asymptomatic. Now, what exactly is this genetic material? Well, if introduced into another person's body, the body will recognize it as a foreign invader. So you could have a very strong immune system, you could be a very healthy individual, and your immune system will fight the foreign invader while at the same time displaying no symptoms. Now, with all that being said, now we're going to get into the testing methodology of how they've been testing for COVID 19, which apparently there seems to be no standard on how it is or is not tested to be positive or negative. So we got testing methodology all over the place, but it's done like that for a particular reason. So when you're given a test for COVID 19, they're only looking for this genetic material, but therein lies a problem. They're looking for one set specific thing in this genetic material, but then yet they could also test for other things. So they could just simply change one aspect of the testing methodology, and guess what? The numbers can either go up or down just like that. All right. So that's a big red flag. No consistency in terms of testing. The methodology of testing is controlled and inconsistent. And then yet those who have actually tried to do independent investigation into this COVID 19 virus, they're immediately shut down and discredited. Okay, so right off the bat, we have a huge red flag that the methodology is being controlled. There's really no way to 100% accurately test consistently across the board for this COVID 19 virus. And then theoretically, 1 out of every 2 people throughout the world, meaning 1 to 2 billion people, could test positive for this virus and yet exhibit no symptoms, don't even have the virus, and are not even carrying this virus. So, how exactly does this affect the body? Well, it affects the body by poisoning cells. So it's almost like injecting cancer into other individuals. Now, were these samples collected from individuals who had lung cancer? That part is really yet to be determined. But the fact that if this particular genetic material is ingested into another body and the body recognizes it for an invader in a specific amount and it destroys cells, that should be a immediate red flag that we're not dealing with a virus, that we're dealing with something far, far worse than a virus. That could this potentially be cancer? I mean, absolutely. Now, the next aspect is all right, so we have this controlled methodology, extremely inconsistent. They can make anything test positive or negative and make the numbers go up and down by just a snap of a finger. Then we're going to go on to the next aspect of 5G. Now, I know we went down the rabbit hole a little bit on this one, but he gave very definitive answers as to why there is a 5G connection and why anything related to COVID 19 and 5G is being suppressed and removed. Now, people were so quick to say, oh, it's fear mongering, it's false information, but then you can easily just look at them and go, are you that fucking daft and that fucking stupid and that much of an unenlightened half-wit? If you look all over social media, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, how much false information, fake news, fear mongering there is, and it's not being taken down, sorry, but your argument is invalid. But anyway, 5G, the new cellular technology. Well, now they've introduced the 5G towers, but then yet that's only going to be for close proximity radiation. Now Elon Musk has gotten approval to have over 10,000 5G satellites in the lower atmosphere to where this 5G radiation can be beamed down to planet Earth. Now, with 5G towers, that's going to be high band. Now, what this new 5G is, they're not really being so forthcoming in disclosing anything. So it could be low band, it could be medium band, it could be high band. They're not being so straightforward in all this, which that should be another red flag because you would think, oh, this new wonderful cellular technology, they'd be so forthcoming and completely disclosing of everything, but then yet they're not. But that's really neither here nor there. So, what does 5G and the coronavirus have to do with? Well, when we had talked about it previously, it has to do with radiation sickness. That's just from exposure to radiation, whether it's ionizing or non ionizing. That part really is irrelevant. And then you could display asymptomatic symptoms, and depending upon which level of exposure or how long you've been exposed to a particular level, you could have flu like symptoms, and it could possibly kill you to where you just drop dead. Now, I know that may sound crazy, but you're just thinking to yourself, now, how in the hell could there be such radiation exposure because of 5G that it could cause people to drop dead? Well, very good question, and I've got the answer. High band 5G operates on the millimeter wavelength frequencies, and it can operate anywhere between 20 and 100 gigahertz. Now, they did this study that if you turn high band 5G up to 60 gigahertz and beyond, what it will do is it will bombard you with radiation, and it will actually alter the external environment to where it removes oxygen from the atmosphere. Now, I know this sounds crazy, but there's a little evidence to also support this claim. He also went on to talk about how there was a doctor in New York that came forth and said, wait a minute. When I actually examined these individuals who came in for suspected COVID-19, they're finding that their lungs are collapsed, which indicates they've been deprived of oxygen. Well, okay, there we go. How is 5G getting up to 60 gigahertz in such close proximity that it's doing this? Is it from the towers? Is it from this new 5G that's being beamed to the Earth from the atmosphere? That part really is yet to be determined, but at least now we have an answer as to why people are just dropping dead. But it also goes one step further. They're also seeing that those who are just dropping dead and they're coming in thinking that they're dropping dead of COVID-19, they're actually having blood clots and strokes assimilated with these deaths. Now, how exactly does a virus like this cause a blood clot or a stroke? The big answer is it doesn't. Something else is causing these blood clots or a stroke. So, yes, there is definitely something out there that is causing people to drop dead, and there is a real danger, but it's not this virus. It is definitely something far worse and far more sinister. Is the 5G? Yes, there is the 5G aspect, but the fact that they're doing human experimentation with this genetic material and it's basically causing people to have cancer almost by causing it to poison and corrupt other cells, and then those cells spread throughout the body, that's a lot like cancer. Well, what causes cancer? Radiation sickness. It could definitely lead to it. So, yeah, we are now in the new technological world to where now they could do anything they want. They can kill someone just by removing oxygen from the atmosphere with current technology. And they can also use this technology as a weapon to induce fear, hysteria, extreme happiness, extreme anger, extreme rage, all of that, just by messing with harmonic frequencies with 5G. So, I hate to say it, I know it sounds crazy, but this is the reality.
And it's sort of like the humanoid control version of HARP.
Mm-hmm.
And when the government controls the weather,
Right.
They just want total control of every damn thing, and
Yeah.
and the elitists want to hoard the Earth's not only finances but natural resources worldwide. So it is all about total control, which is pure capitalism, which is evil. And it's always been rigged since day one for
Right.
not for the top 1%. But it's just about total control in what you had said in a very sinister, diabolical way.
Right. Now, there are two more final points I do want to get to, and then that'll be all I have to discuss on it for right now. All right. So, in regards to the, I done lost it. Okay. So, now that we've gotten everything out of the way and we've cleared the air about 5G and COVID-19, usually I'm not one to say Illuminati or New World Order, but I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. The groundwork for the New World Order to finally take hold, it's finally been set. The New World Order is trying to emerge. And you know that song Electric Eye by Judas Priest? I mean,
Yeah.
that has now become a reality. 5G is now the new electric eye. And this is the reality of which we now live in. So the New World Order is trying to emerge, but it's emerging in its very particular way. Now they've shown that they can now have complete control and complete dominance over not only human beings' behaviors, but now they can have complete control over governments, their infrastructures, everything. The New World Order now has complete control over everything on this planet Earth. And if they want to, they could eradicate America just by turning up 5G technology and pit us against each other, or just outright kill us by depriving us of oxygen. So now is definitely a dangerous time we're living in, and now is the time to come out of the slumber, wake up, because if we don't, it's going to be too late. Do we still have a chance to fight it and kill it while it's only in its infancy stage? Yes. But if we don't act now, we won't stand a chance in hell later fighting it. Now, will it collapse in on itself? Wishful thinking, but we'll see. Probably it might, but I wouldn't take that gamble and really assume and take that risk.
Yeah, it's sort of it's sort of like with global warming. We only have climate change. We only have so much time to proactively and aggressively act upon it, and it's the same with this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean,
yeah. Oh, and now I remember what I had my brain fart moment over. So I posted an article here on Facebook here recently that remember when I said that they're gonna overhype these numbers on purpose to induce fear and hysteria? Well,
yeah,
guess what? They've actually been caught doing it, because in Pennsylvania, I forget which county or which town or city in Pennsylvania it was. I posted on Facebook and I'll tag you in the link in it. That now they are having to go back and retract official numbers related to COVID-19 deaths, because a lot of these deaths were not thoroughly investigated. They were just thrown on of the label of COVID-19. So now they're having to retract the numbers in Pennsylvania, and even here in my part of Tennessee, even though the supposed deaths were only in the double digits, they are now retracting those numbers even here on a small scale. That actually the numbers they reported were completely inaccurate and incorrect. That actually the number was a lot smaller than the official numbers they themselves reported. Okay, so if they're doing that in Pennsylvania and they're doing that here in my area, then they're going to be doing this not only here in the US, but globally. And then now, since they've realized that they overreacted, they overhyped this, they outright lied to the American people, that now it's just turning into a shit show among all these politicians and the media. And now they're pointing fingers and doing the blame game and passing the buck. And now they're coming out and saying, oh, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have done this, that these stay at home orders, they were unconstitutional. That, yeah, maybe we overstepped our bounds as government and that we shouldn't have violated your constitutional rights. I'm thinking, yep, they realize they've been caught. They're doing damage control. They screwed the pooch. The cat's out of the bag, and this is not going away quietly.
so those banners that my sister showed me from her friends that are nurses about all those people getting discharged and recovering. That's
yeah, they're true.
They're true.
Yeah, okay. So I'm really yet to. What's baffling me is, how can a virus cause a blood clot or a stroke like that? It doesn't happen. So yeah, there definitely is something there, but this so far has been a pandemic and a scamdemic and a hoax.
Now,
There is no virus, but there definitely is something else out there that is way more dark and more sinister.
now, do you remember? I posted the article on purpose. Do you
Hmm.
remember the article I posted recently from WebMD about the fact that the coronavirus can attack your entire body and every organ? I put it on Progressive Discussions and Holistic Health Talk, and it was a big ass article about how no part of your body is safe from the coronavirus. WebMD, the respectable WebMD.
Oh god.
I mean, because everybody says if you want to know anything medical, go to WebMD or John Hopkins University or the Mayo Clinic website. But they always mention WebMD. Ooh, WebMD. So it's like what they used to say about Consumer Reports and Snopes, who was caught lying, by the way. Snopes, they were caught lying many times. So now, no part of your body is safe, according to WebMD. No part of your body is safe, but there's always hope. There's always,
Oh,
there's always
okay.
hope. People, there's always hope.
Okay, so yeah, to be fair, I went back, I watched the official video. So he did not say for people to personally go out and ingest disinfectant. What he said was more or less a political gaffe, to where he said, "Is there something that we could inject into people to cleanse them of the coronavirus?" Now, people just said that he assumed disinfectant and just took it and ran with it. Well, he actually is right about one thing, and he just worded it completely wrong. So you actually could use like UV light to treat or sanitize a particular area. And even sometimes for like certain operations, they will use like this UV light to clean and disinfect the area. And even sometimes they'll inject something that's very safe, but then it kind of acts like a disinfectant agent. So he wasn't too far off. It's just he worded it completely wrong, and it was just taken out of context and completely disproportionate to what he said.
Well, him and Mike Pence were told by the medical scientists and the physicians who gave the malaria drug with the zinc and,
Hmm.
and with a backup of Z-Pack in case they get bacterial pneumonia, and they became asymptomatic. People on respirators became asymptomatic within like several hours.
Hmm.
They were notified by the physician in the Midwest somewhere that had success with the protocol, who got it from the physicians in France, in Brazil, in South Korea, China, Singapore, I think,
Hmm.
China also, that within hours, severe patients became asymptomatic. Now, I think Sean Hannity, which I'm definitely not a fan, but he had this American doctor who did an interview on a Facebook video. He had him on the show.
Hmm.
Then Mike Pence watched it because they love Fox. So Mike
Oh
Pence
boy.
watched it. And this doctor swears by the protocol. Firsthand personal experience. Then it gets to Trump. And then what happens? Little Dr. Fauci says, "Now good, now good. You can drop dead from it, a heart attack or whatever." And then all of a sudden the news came out about the Veterans Hospital, about them using the protocol at the Veterans Hospital, and people dropping dead from the protocol. So maybe Trump knows they're they're avoiding something that really works. And he was being sarcastic because, just to bust their balls.
Right. Well, to be fair, I mean, if you feel like you are sick, try to,
Hey,
self-treat as. Oh, hi, Sean. Well, anyway, as I was saying, but let's be rational, let's be logical here, all right? You don't have to run to the doctor or run and get medical treatment just because your sinuses are draining and you might have a little cough or you might be sneezing, okay? Now, if you really feel like you are sick, like you're running a fever and your nose is running and you're hacking up a lung and you feel like your chest has got a croup to it, by all means go to the doctor, seek medical attention, and stay home. But yet, if you are completely fine and you're exhibiting no symptoms and you're a healthy individual, you know what? Go out, live life, do what you want. You're not posing a risk to yourself. You're not posing a risk to anyone else. And which is why I've been saying all along, if this virus is so easily treatable and cured and can be killed that easily, why are these quarantines, this lockdown really justifiable at this particular point? Like, why have they even really been justifiable or warranted at all? So I honestly say that if we really were to reopen, I don't think anything bad would happen, regardless of where it opened and to what extent. Because if you get sick and you get treated, you're fine. And I like that post when they said that, about the new reopening when people are like, oh, there's going to be a spike in coronaviruses, then you're going to see a second outbreak and da. And I'm just thinking to myself, okay, well, let's look at the places that have opened up thus far. Like some of the beaches in Florida and North Carolina, people are flocking to it. All right, well, they've now been open for a couple weeks. Well, guess what? There's not been another outbreak. So their arguments are invalid. Just now, people are just so terrified and just so afraid to go out. And if they want to live their life like that, fine. Ain't no one stopping them. All the reopening is saying if you want to go out and you want to go back to work and you want to open up a business, you want to reopen your business, fine. If you don't want to, that's fine too. No one's forcing you to do anything.
Well, if someone is laid off from the job,
Mm-hmm.
or they're self-employed and they get the clean bill of health and they're told it's your choice, man. You want to reopen your store, your luncheonette, or whatever you got, or your little family-owned restaurant, you're okay. But the governor requires a certain limit to the amount of customers that can be in your dining area. And, you got to abide by it. But if you want to go back to work, go back to work. Now, copper divining rods.
Oh, okay.
Copper divining rods. The states that are not heavily populated in the United States, the states that are rural or mountainous, forests, lakes, whatever, not densely populated. Do you feel that these states will be fine if they are reopened and there's no more lockdown in these American states? Okay. Now, the social distancing and everything in densely populated areas, like the major cities of the United States, should they continue on the strict protocol that they used in Asia, in China? Okay. So, in areas that are fine, are you okay with businesses and self-employed people and people going back to work, period? Yes. Okay. When I watched Chris Cuomo talking from his basement, and he said he has plenty of money and he's very disappointed in the political system, the major political parties and mainstream media, because they have not been totally honest with the American people, and he doesn't care if he goes back to work or not because he's pissed. Was he talking about the lies that the American people have been listening to on the news and from their politicians? Yes. Okay. Now, do you believe in the 5G radiation connection? Pretty much a diabolical, perhaps depopulation plan by the oligarch? No, that's a big yes.
All right, well, I got a question for him. All right, so copper divining rods. So everything I've been saying about the coronavirus, that really it's a hoax, it was a pandemic and a scamdemic, and all the details I gave, was I true and accurate in what I've said? Ooh, that's interesting.
Oh, so the New World Order, the oligarchy, the elitists, whatever you want to call them, are they behind this diabolical scheme? Yes.
All right, well, I got another one for him. All right, so copper divining rods. Like, let's say tomorrow that the United States decides to go ahead and reopen, either with restrictions, some restrictions, or no restrictions. Will it be just fine, regardless of location?
Yeah, you don't want to do that to New York City. Maybe upper New York State. You know, it depends on the area. So what I said about the density of population as far as reopening the country, was that the wisest choice? Okay, let me see.
All right, well, I do have just one more question for him.
Hold on, Mr. Sean. James, this is an excellent cast. Maybe ask Jay Terrio. Maybe ask Jay Terrio to mention when you guys do future joint reviews. Well, you know, these shows are promoted days ahead of time at the top of my YouTube channel. Jay Terrio is not progressive, so he's not going to really, you know, get the megaphone and start. But you know, we have to be careful with, we don't want any flag waving right wing crazies that are going to try to debate us with no facts, with no science, because we don't need the aggravation. Hi, James, please remind me of your wrestling site. I don't have one. Was it Facebook? Oh, that. Right under the video, there's a Facebook Messenger link to alpha males. I want to try to engage in wrestling, pro wrestling talk on alpha males. Right under this show, you will see the link. Yeah, that's it. Alpha males. Yeah, alpha male. Okay, now back to the Wolf's next question.
Okay, so copper divining rods. So would New York City be the most unsafest place to reopen, even with social distancing and restrictions in place?
Yeah, because the people are fucking assholes there.
Because well, like I said, well, even with restrictions and social distancing, that doesn't really make much sense, but okay.
Well, because there's so many people crowded into that one city. It's like if you went to downtown Chicago, you know, or I guess, well, the governor of Georgia wants to reopen the whole thing, right? But let's say you're in Atlanta. All right. I guess if people made a conscientious effort to social distance in Atlanta, Georgia, it could be done. I mean, if the people really want to. Miami, there's a lot of characters that live in Miami. I don't know. New York, New Jersey, you got to club those suckers over the head 1,000 times to get them to listen. They're real boneheads, really. I mean, if the government doesn't like force them to do things.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that just made me think of another one. Okay, so copper divining rods. Were the lockdowns and the quarantines really justified in hindsight?
Yeah, well, yeah, because China did 1 meter. That's 6 feet. That's about 6 feet.
Well, I was just asking, like, okay, so the divining rods say that in hindsight the quarantines and lockdowns were justifiable, but then yet, why would it really be justifiable considering that, in these quarantines, these lockdowns, now they're saying that, despite the quarantines and lockdowns, that they're not working and that they're trying to say, okay, so despite the quarantines and the lockdowns, that people are still getting infected with this virus, and yet people are having to be removed from the family unit. But wait, the quarantine and the lockdown was supposed to stop the spread of the virus, but now they're saying that it's penetrating into the family unit despite the quarantine and lockdown. So how really does that work?
Now, the divining rods, New York and New Jersey, the local mainstream media is nothing but gloom and doom. But then again, they're saying the curve is flattening. Hospitals are saying that many people are recovering and being dismissed from the hospital. What's the other word I use? Or discharged from the hospital. So Americans are getting a lot of conflicting information. Either it's gloom and doom or the curve is flattening. Is the media deliberately just flat out lying to us? Okay. Do you trust Dr. Fauci, divining rods? I bet he's in bed with Big Pharma, and I bet he's sucking on Bill Gates's dick, maybe. I don't trust that guy, that Fauci. Now, what about some of these social media doctors that have become pandemic celebrities? Are some of them full of shit? Are some of them just perpetuating the fear mongering? Now, do you like the thin guy from San Francisco with the shaved head that I always listen to? Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's pretty cool. And who's that other one? Well, you know what she does? I don't want to mention her name because she's very pretty, and I don't want to piss her off. But anyway, let me think. Dr. Eric Berg. That guy's a sharp cookie with nutrition and medical advice. You like Dr. Eric Berg on social media? Okay, good. Now I want to tell a story, a little consumer story. I ordered those 2 inflatable lounge chairs, and I deliberately did not order from Intex. I got them from Walmart.com though, but I did not get Intex because every Intex product I ever bought in my life burst. So I get them. Of course, they're made in mainland China. Both of them are defective. They deflate. They don't hold the air. Now, I'm not 500 pounds. I'm not a sumo wrestler. Now, there's no reason why they should deflate so fast. So I contacted customer service. They blew me off. Then I contacted them again, and I got somebody. And they sent me an email that if I I would have to ship the defective lounge chairs back to the company because Walmart, as a company, doesn't manufacture them. I would have to send them to the Chinese company, and they would pay for the shipping fee, but I have to pay for what they call a restocking fee. Oh, really? So I get stuck with 2 defective pieces of merchandise, and I have to pay for them to restock defective merchandise? Divining rods. Is this a new corporate scam, this restocking fee? Because I thought so. So if they're defective, are they really going to restock them? No, of course not. They're defective. So it's kind of like when companies hire interns that are in school for their last graduating year, and they tell them, hey, you want to earn school, you want to earn credits for your degree, work for free for some company, and you'll get credits. So is it similar to the scam of being an intern? Yes. You've heard that before, right? Damien the Wolf. You know, you got 1 more year left. You're going to graduate, and they say to you, earn credits by working for free for this employer. Well,
never heard that. Never heard of that before.
Well, they're doing it in New Jersey, and you know what? Of course, you know what happens when they graduate. The same companies get another busload of interns to work for free. Copper divining rods. Is this nothing but legalized slave labor?
Mm-hmm.
Is it similar to the slave labor in privatized prisons that Republicans just love? And like Lindsey Graham had investments, I heard, in privatized prisons. This is really free slave labor, right? This is free slave labor. Now, when they arrest homeless people that are flat broke by no fault of their own, and they're sleeping on a park bench, and they arrest them for vagrancy, or they arrest people for having marijuana and throw them in jail and make them work for free, is that also free slave labor? Yes, the divining rods say yes. And was this all invented by right-wing conservative Republicans? Of course, because they're greedy, stingy, scumbag, capitalist motherfuckers, right? Well, you can disagree with me if you want. Yes. Okay, they're stingy, greedy, capitalist mofos. Okay, we have Michael.
Yo.
We have Michael Hunt from San Francisco, California, and we finished with politics. My true consumer story, where I was fucked over by. I was almost fucked over by Walmart.com, but I'm going to contact them tomorrow.
What happened with Walmart?
My 2 inflatable lounge chairs, they both deflate. They don't hold air.
Chrissy, bring me the big knife. I'm going to slit my throat.
And you know what they want? They want to give me $10. Oh, I forgot to tell Damien that. They want to give me $10 for my troubles, and I spent $70 on both of them. Oh, you want to give me $10? So I spent $70, and then I got to pay for a I got to pay for a restocking fee. Why would any company restock the defective merchandise, Mr. Mike Hunt?
Yeah. When it comes to Mike Hunt, you could say Mike.
I'm sorry, Michael Hilton.
If you say Mike Hunt.
I know. I used to. Hi, Martian. What beer are you drinking, sir? Well, it's not a beer show, but that's on Friday. Hey, Sean. We the Red Pill Progressive every Friday 11:30 p.m. Eastern time. We do all beer reviews. So
There we go. There was a hitch or a hiccup in my Wi-Fi.
you want to laugh?
That's
I
all right.
accidentally called this man Mike Hunt again.
Mike Hunt. You're saying Mike Hunt. You're saying
No,
Mike
Mike Hunt. No, Michael Hilton. I'm sorry.
You're saying Mike Hunt.
Listen, I had a regional manager by the name of Michael Hunt. I'm sorry. I apologize.
So
Well,
then you're in essence. I know you're not. I know you're not acting like you're trying to.
Well, I'm not saying you are
But
Mike
maybe-
Hunt.
Wait, Divine Rods. Am I Michael Hunt or am I Mike Hunt? Am I Mike Hunt? Am I Mike Hunt?
Is this man's real name? No. Yeah, he by Divine Rods knows. So so anyway, a restocking fee. A restocking fee for defective merchandise.
Zero Nevada Pale Ale, by the way. But
Oh, you got a pale ale? Yeah, I got a pale ale. Hey, look
well,
at
I do have a beer I was going to drink here in a little bit. I got some Natural Light.
look what I showed before.
Good beer.
Disinfecting fluid and Donald Trump. The disinfectant.
Go.
Hey, inject it in your bloodstream. It'll kill the coronavirus.
I was just asking if that was a remote possibility. I did not go to that as an extreme solution. He fucking projected that extreme solution. He fucking went to that extreme solution. Okay. Sean says California is a great place to visit. Not parentheses. Not.
Well, he's right wing. He's not. He's conservative. He's not a socialist like we are.
No, I'm pretty conservative. Sorry, guys, I'm pretty conservative.
All right. Okay. Well, I have conservative. I have a few, not many. I have a few, maybe a couple conservative friends. But guess what? I don't talk politics with them. That's why I'm still their friends.
You talk politics. I feel like if you talk politics, if I talk politics or even anything to a liberal, they're gonna judge the shit out of me. If I talk to like a conservative, they're gonna hear me out and they're gonna be like, I don't understand quite what you said, but you're spot on the money, dude.
Now, if you imitate Archie Bunker and you make me laugh, then you can talk conservative. Who makes your what pale ale are you drinking? What company, by the way?
Sierra Nevada.
Sierra Nevada. You know what's coming up real soon? My favorite part of the show.
Oh yeah.
The one and only, the State of the Union Tarot card reading is coming up real soon. So you people get ready, and there's no interruptions when he shuffles. You can talk, but when he lays them out, dead silence, because we have to focus on the mysticism and the powers of the cosmos from the intergalactic connection that we have in the age of Aquarius.
Well, you could just mute me then. You can just mute me then. What, like?
No, just don't talk.
No, fucking mute me.
Okay.
Mutiny on the Bounty. You said what? This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. All right.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go over there and get him and awaken the third eye, because it's been sleeping all day. He needs to be awakened.
Oh, you saw that History Channel thing? The full episode I posted.
Yeah, I saw it, and they're actually very correct. But anyway, I'm gonna go over here, get him, and then I'm gonna awaken the third eye, wake it up, because it needs to wake up. It hasn't woke up in a few days.
Because it seems like so many of the Earth's religions speak of the third eye. So, it's got to be. It's got to be.
All right. Well, I will be back here in just a moment.
Okay.
Awesome.
Now, Michael, I got to pronounce his name correctly. Mr. Mike Hilton.
My cunt. Wait, I have a...
No, not my cunt. Michael Hilton. You can bring your snack or your... I'll play a little juice.
I have a beer. I I have a beer. I will chill it. And what we're reviewing tonight is Heavy Lift Vessel by.
Hey, Boatswan. This
Yeah.
is the Boatswan's whistle. This. Oh no, I got the boat nuts. It's in the. I got a.
You got jack shit. No,
It's too loud. I can't blow it now. It's. Hey, I notice Eric Fraunfelter's been blowing me off, man. What's his problem, man? What's his problem?
I know. I tried to get him on my live stream.
He didn't come Friday. Friday
I
at
wanted
11:30 beer reviews, man. Hey, Sean, every Friday 11:30 beer reviewing. Hopefully it's craft beer. Well, you can bring macro if you want.
It's, by the way, earlier this week. Oh no, that's about Red Pill Progressive. That's not.
Well, from 11 to 11:30, we do alpha male rights activism, red pill, men going their own way talk. We talk about dating, relationships, how women are trying to establish power over men and control men.
And some men they keep commenting on girls' pictures on Facebook, and they keep saying dumb shit. And I said one thing. And
the beta male orbiters, yeah. They and a woman. The judicial system favors a woman because all she has to do is get a lawyer, and she will take you to the cleaners if you marry her.
You have to have a good comeback. What you just have to have in this situation is a good comeback, and that's just all you have to have. A great comeback.
Yeah,
the way to navigate any situation.
Yeah, like what kind of car do you drive? A car that goes forwards when I put it in drive, and then it goes backwards when I put it in reverse. And when I stick the key in the ignition, it starts up right away. I got four tires, rubber.
Oh yeah, like in the movie Swingers. When she says, "Oh, what kind of car do you drive?" and he says, "I don't know, a Camaro." And she's like,
yeah, 11:30, a little past 11:30, we do the beer review. But if you want to join us for Red Pill Talk, that'll be 11. But yeah, when they try to size up your income, they just want to use you, man. They want to use you. They're not interested in unconditional love or
why they give off that defensive reaction sometimes, because they know that you're not really about that. But anyway.
Okay, now it's time.
Damien.
Yes, I have returned.
Now he's going to shuffle the cards. Friday beer review. Okay, you're in for Friday beer. Now, if Eric Fraunfelter wants to join, I know he's been blowing us off, but I don't care. We had a good time Friday, regardless.
Bring him on.
It's up there. But anyway, you can talk about your beer as he's shuffling the cards.
Oh, I'm gonna review that beer later on. But
all right.
Oh yeah, he brought another craft beer that he's gonna review at the end of the show.
All right. Well, then for me, I'm just sipping on some natural light. Well, I mean, I guess I can give a few quick assessments about the beer while I'm shuffling the cards. So, I've had natural light many times. It's my go-to light beer just because it fits everything I look for in a light beer. It's got great carbonation. It's got a nice light golden color. And the body and the mouthfeel is light, just like you expected. It's got some sweetness from the malt, and then it's got a little corniness and a little graininess from the corn, mixing with the barley malt. Then in the middle, it's got a nice little white bread crust, and then in the end, It's got a little hop action, but it also has a little riciness in the end as well. And to finish it all up, it is very crisp, clean, and refreshing. And as you expect, the body and mouthfeel are pretty light and watery. But I mean, for 95 calories, you shouldn't expect something to be super tasty. But for a light beer, it does have a bit more flavors compared to like Bud Light, Coors Light, or Miller Lite, or any of the other light beers. But I just like it just because the price is right. You could pick up a 12-pack around here for still like $8.99 or $9.99 a 12-pack, and you can sip on them all night or all day, and they really don't get you drunk. So if you're just looking for a beer just to sit down and drink and not really think on, or just to have with food, or just to sit down in session, can't really go wrong with it.
You know what light beer actually tastes? What?
So,
you know what light beer tasted really great? Heineken Light. I had it.
Yeah, I've had Heineken Light. But for my personal opinion, Natural Light is my go-to. So I give it 100 out of 100 because it's everything you expect in a light beer, and the price is right.
Yeah, and you don't get heartburn or any headache from it at all.
Oh no, not from Natural Light. I mean, I've drunk a 12-pack before in a whole night, and I woke up not hungover. In fact, yeah, I felt a little buzzed and under the influence, but overall, I was just not drunk. I mean, 95 calories, only 4.2% alcohol. You're going to have to do a lot of drinking to get drunk, and even if you kind of space it out, you won't get drunk.
I wasn't even referring to intoxication. When I drink macros, I get heartburn and I get a headache. It could be the preservatives that are put into macros. It could be.
Well, I'm just about done shuffling the cards. Well, the story of how Natural Light came about. So it was Anheuser-Busch's first light beer they ever introduced, and it was to compete with light beer by Miller because of a story that came out in like 1975, 76, what have you, that Miller Lite was made with all sorts of like funky chemical ingredients. Well, Anheuser-Busch jumped all over that and said, no, we're going to introduce a light beer, but we're going to make a smooth Pilsner with all natural ingredients, henceforth why it was called Natural Light. And it was the flagship beer from 77 until 82, but now it lost its prominence because Bud Light became more popular, but now Natural Light is making a comeback in terms of popularity because they're seeing, it tastes better than Bud Light, it's cheaper, it's got more body, and it's got more flavor to it, and it's what you look for in a light beer, so it's gaining its prominence again. So they can command a higher price. So you're going to see the prices of it go up more here in the next little bit. But I mean, still $9.99 for a 12-pack when like you go to get like a regular macro, they're like $12.99 a 12-pack. So
well, if they can be true with their ingredients, and if it lists corn, rice, adjuncts, whatever, blah blah blah, no chemical and preservative free, if they could be honest, then you know what, more power to them. As long as they're honest with their ingredients, a macro company, if they're honest, more power to them.
Like Modelo.
I like Modelo. I like the Genesee line. I like the Modelo line. Pacifico's not bad.
All right, well, I got the cards all ready to go.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and flip.
Yeah, now it is.
All right. Okay, so the State of the Union Tarot card reading. All right, so this week, it's definitely interesting as compared to the previous weeks that we've had. So, of course, I do my typical reading, the United States, the past, present, future outcome, and then the 3 connection cards. So this card has shown up several times. It's interesting. It's now made another appearance, but it seems like this particular card either appears here or it appears here. But this one, we have a little bit of everything, it seems. So we have at least one card out of every suit. See, we have the Wands, we have the Cups, we have the Pentacles, and we also have the Swords. So let's see what we got here. All right, so the first card that we have is, come on, stay out of the way. So the first card that we have here is the Knight of Wands. So right now, America is definitely having more emotional desires, and there's a balance in emotions, and now they're seeing that they've been lied and bamboozled and hoodwinked, and that the media has been full of shit all along, and that they realize that government has really overstepped their bounds, that now they're fighting back and then now holding the government accountable and holding their feet to the fire, and that now they themselves are having to do damage control, and they're trying to pass the buck, play the blame game, all that. Well, now that the pooch is screwed, the cat's out of the bag, and damage control is going in. Yeah, now we're seeing everything that really all along, just as I said, it was a plandemic, it was a scamdemic, and it was a hoax all along. And now people are pissed, and now they're going to hold people accountable, and they're going to start taking action and taking matters into their own hands. All right. So the past, this is being represented by the King of Cups. And by the King of Cups, we now see that emotions are now in check. Now people are going to start thinking a bit more rational, a bit more logical in terms of what's going to follow next. Now, the present. Now, with a lot of reopenings happening across the United States, and that stuff is going to get back to somewhat of normalcy, that we're going to see the economy recover, but it's going to take a while. But once it actually happens, everything's going to be all good. Now, the future. This is where things are going to get a little interesting here with the Four of Pentacles as compared to the Ten of Pentacles. So with this Four of Pentacles, although there's going to be a recovery and everything's going to bounce back and there's going to be somewhat of normalcy, we're definitely going to see more of a resurgence in terms of being a bit more conservative in terms of not only government spending, but also personal spending. So that way, if this were to have a second wave, as they want to claim, we're going to have another one in November, which I highly doubt. They're going to be a bit more prepared just in case, shit hits the fan a second time and it gets worse than what it was this time. Now, the outcome, we have the Page of Swords. So this is very interesting because now that we've gotten the basis on how things are going to go, with the Page of Swords, we're going to see that, people are not going to be so quick to be so knee-jerk and react disproportionately to situations in the future, and they're going to be a bit more cautious and wary as to when government or mainstream media says this, that, what have you, that they're going to be a bit more questioning and a bit more wary, and rightfully so, because the mainstream media, regardless of whether it's liberal, conservative, what have you, they fed so much bullshit and so many lies, and they've outright deceived the American people that really, at this point, both sides are incapable of telling the truth. And that really just by doing your own research and being an independent, critical, free thinker, that's going to have a better outcome than just solely relying on the media. Now, the connections that we got here. All right, so the Five of Swords between the past and the present. Now, with the Five of Swords, we see that you have a person here who has three swords, and the other two swords are laying on the ground, which means both sides have tried to feed us bullshit and tried to ram stuff down our throats, and it just simply did not work as they wanted to. It worked for a little while, but it didn't really go according to plan. So now, according to them, the situation is a snafu, and it's gone foobar. And rightfully so, as that saying goes, you can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. So this is a big indicator that they were deceived, but now the lies and the deception and all the bullshit has come to a forefront, it's been exposed, they're in damage control, they should be afraid of what's going to happen. And rightfully so. So now we have the Queen of Swords, as indicated as the connection between the present and the future. So the Queen of Swords, she's a very mature, independent, free-willed, free-thinking woman. And sometimes she could be a bit rough around the edges and a bit harsh. So I would assume that now people are going to, still be alphas and they're still going to have their masculine energy to them, but we're going to see a bit more of a tapestry into mature feminine energy and being a bit more loving, caring, and passionate, but still doing it in a tough love manner. And also with this, I definitely foresee people being way more critical when it comes to mainstream media and government officials in terms of holding them accountable, especially when they were deliberately scaring people through fear and hysteria and brainwashing, manipulating, and controlling people, that those who have done it, they're not going to get away with it and they're going to be held accountable. And anyone else who's been involved, they're definitely going to be held accountable, and rightfully so. So now our conclusion here is the Knight of Swords. So we're definitely going to see more swift action in terms of reopening and holding individuals more accountable here in the next little bit. So as I was talking earlier about how the New World Order has set its groundwork and is now trying to emerge, I definitely see there is going to be more resistance. Now, if it breaks out into armed revolution or another civil war, maybe, maybe not, but definitely there is going to be swift action by the American people in terms of holding people accountable for their actions. And also, I wouldn't be surprised if now things take a legalistic approach to where now they're going to actually try to sue the government for having this mass quarantine and this mass lockdown unnecessarily and causing people to be laid off or losing their jobs unnecessarily. And they go after them criminally, civilly, and constitutionally for trampling their rights unnecessarily. And then also, I won't be surprised if they go even further than that. So it's going to be interesting in the next little bit to see what the American people do in terms of holding those who have done this accountable. So very interesting spread, very hopeful. But again, this is just as things as they are right now. This could change at any point. But right now, the momentum is building. And at this point, don't try to interfere with the momentum because you're just going to get steamrolled and crushed. So, yeah, that's my reading for this week. So I hope you all enjoyed it and stay tuned for next week's.
Yeah, what's that old saying? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yes.
That was Scotty on Star Trek said that. He said it was an old Scottish saying. But you know what's great about these State of the Union tarot card readings is you never know what cards are going to come out week to week. Every week can be a surprise. You never know. Now, the 7-card method. What is the difference between the 7-card layout and the Celtic cross, which I think is 10 cards?
All right. So there is a little bit of differences. I just prefer this one because it's a bit easier to understand, and it also is a bit more of a standard reading. But I just added the additional 3 cards for a bit more clarification. Now,
Right.
The Celtic cross spread is definitely very popular among tarot card readers, but on some instances, it's definitely applicable and a bit more plausible. But for something like this, with things being so up in the air and things changing so rapidly that it can really change day to day, week to week, or even sometimes moment to moment, or even hour within the hour. That way, if you have it like this, you get a better understanding of how things are and what would be a more predictable outcome in the future. Now, the Celtic Cross, yeah, it gives a bit more clarity in terms of other aspects, but it's one thing to have clarity, but it's another to have so much instability and have so much change happening right now. So, will the Celtic Cross be applicable in the future? Yeah, but for right now, it's not. Now, I've used the Celtic Cross reading and compared it with this one. The results for me are about the same.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? You've been using this method for a long time now, and it's working for you, and you prefer it. You know, it's your baby. You're the tarot card reader.
Yeah, I'll do a Celtic Cross reading on one of them one time just to see what the results are, but it's probably not going to be too drastically different from what we've been having here recently.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay. Now, that was good. That was excellent. Now, Mr. Michael Hilton, I got his name straight, of San Francisco, California, is going to do a review. Yeah, Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan were funny as all hell. They were a great duo. Jesse the Body with Vince McMahon.
Very chill.
I'm not done yet. Jesse the Body Ventura with Vince McMahon, another very amusing color commentary of professional wrestling. All right, now we're going to Michael. What was his last name again? Michael Hilton with his craft beer review.
Thanks, man. Thank you, James. We got the Boatswain.
No.
The ale, heavy lift vessel.
Oh, that's an ale?
It's Bosun. It's clocking in at 7% ABV with 80 IBUs. So it's 7%, but with 80 IBUs. Martian, what? He says, Martian, what ale is that? Heavy lift vessel.
Boatswain. Heavy lift
very chilled, snifter glass. Bosun. Bosun HLV heavy lift vessel ale. 7% and 80 IBUs. I love this beer. It's not a blue bottle. It's not a green bottle. It's not even a brown bottle. It's a craft beer. Look at that. 350 milliliters. Let's get it out. Holy shit. Why was this out in the shelf so long? I love this beer. It's a strong ale. I love the strong ale. I don't understand why it took somebody so long to buy it. The Bosun beer. Some people disagree about the Bosun beer. Some people, they don't hold them in the best light. But I think that the IPA, I haven't had their stout from Rhinelander Brewing Company. I've not had that yet.
What a beautiful sight that is to the eye. That is eye candy ale.
Eye candy ale. I think that is the best way to describe the category.
Look at that. Look at that dark brown. Beautiful.
Look at that, James. Freaking amazing.
Yeah.
It's an orange beer. It looks a bit like a red ale. It just has that amber hue. Bubble is Dark Knight Rising. We are maritime with our beer reviews. I would love a job. I would fucking love it. I don't know about you guys, but I would fucking love a maritime job. A maritime job would be so fucking sweet.
Yeah, but don't go out in the Bering Strait for snow crab. It's pretty rough out there. Bering Sea, yeah.
Good glazing on the glass. It looks like they chilled the shit out of this motherfucker prior to selling it to me, so that's good. And it looks like just a bunch of red currants in a glass. It looks freaking amazing. I don't know why some people give this beer a bad review. Every time I look at it, it boggles my mind. And it's 9 o'clock.
It's like a combination of Newcastle Brown Ale with Killian's Irish Red, sort of.
Yeah, right? Actually it does.
It is. Even though I've not had a Newcastle. But I know what you mean. It's very nutty. It's very browny. It has this mouthfeel of just. I think it's going to be roasty. Even though it looks and acts a lot like an IPA. That's the Childish Gambino impersonation. IPA.
IPA. That's the Village People. Oh, that was YMCA. I'm sorry.
Right.
But
Oh, and then also the New England or the Newcastle Brown Ale, it pairs really well with barbecue.
let's get into it. Hey
Bar-
guys,
Yeah, Newcastle's great.
let's get into it.
But
Dude.
Doctor, Dave Coulter, he said Brown Ale. He said Newcastle Brown Ale was garbage. I says garbage. Newcastle Brown.
Presto. This isn't Newcastle. This isn't Newcastle.
Yeah, but Newcastle's legendary. How could he say it was garbage? But that's the whole thing with these groups, with these communities.
Yeah, it's just presto, fruit at the front, bitterness at the back end, especially at 80 IBUs. Great lacing, great seaside feel. You're getting a bit of an apricot. You're getting a Chrissy, bring me the big knife. You're getting a bit of an apricot. Give me the bring knife. Give me the, bring me.
I'm gonna start calling you Michael Hunt from now on. What are you trying to say?
Mel Gibson. That's my Mel Gibson.
Oh, okay.
Or Nicolas Cage impersonation. That's my Nicolas Cage impersonation.
Okay.
But this beer is awesome. You are totally getting this tartness. You're getting the jelly feel to it. The apricot. So you're getting jelly feel. Even though it's a strong ale, I feel like it's a lot like an IPA. It's totally fresh. I would drink this if I got stranded somewhere, like Mars. I would have beer with me for the rest of posterity, and I would be okay. It's just high yeast leading to strong malt backbone, leading to a bit of a hop resin. It's just such an awesome beer. It's so rich. It's so fucking rich. I could drink it in 5 seconds, but I also feel like I want to drink it in 50 seconds. I also feel like I want to drink it in 50 minutes. I don't want it to go down so easily. I love this beer. Take a look at it.
Because of the flavor. Yeah. What do you rate it at? What percentage are you rating this beer at?
Out of how much? Like out of 10?
As far as dark ales compared to other dark ales, on a scale from 1% to 100%.
Especially because, James, it's a bit of a strong ale. Also clocking in a bit as like a red ale. I feel like this red ale is. I love the fact that it is 7% AIU and it is a strong beer. Martian says where brewed. Mike is low. Sorry, man. It is in the state of Wisconsin. It's a
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
You wouldn't think it would be from Wisconsin, but wow, how about
Well, I'm from Illinois. So I know that feel, bro.
Yeah, Wisconsin. They're known for cheese and the Green Bay Packers, and that's about it. And and macro beers.
I thought Eric was going to join. He said he was going to join. What's up?
Well, but he doesn't join the political show. Well, he didn't join the beer review Friday, so I just.
What about John?
John. Who the hell's John?
John and Nilly of Georgia Beer Reviews.
He never joins my stuff. No, he's with Jay. He's one of Jay's boys. He don't join my stuff.
Right. Oh, I have my rating. If you want to hear my rating.
Yeah, and Michael Cucamonga. What the fuck? Michael Komarov. Comatose. Michael Comatose is. He's one of Eric's boys. All right, what's your rating?
My rating on this one, I initially gave it like a 99 out of 100. I'm going to give one. Oh, shit. This is such a fucking craft beer. I'm going to give it, just from the carbonation, the yeastiness, the bubble gum, like jelly-like feel of it alone, even as a strong ale. That will rip your ass. If you're new to this kind of beer, it will knock you. It will fucking knock you. I will give this one a 99 with a high
99
of 106.
Wow.
So that
I would say. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
go ahead, sir.
All I was going to say is just let that sit out for a little bit, let it warm, and you're really going to taste all of the flavor characteristics, and you're going to get more of an aromatic experience. That's just the way ales are. Ales are warm fermented, so if you let them warm, they're going to become more flavorful and more enjoyable.
Yeah, so Gary, just what's your take, Gary, on IPAs, strong beer? What's your take on it? I love strong beer, but what's your take on it?
Well, I do rate every single beer that I drink, regardless whether it's a macro, if it's a craft. I rate it according to style and I rate it according to class. So I'm not too picky, but I just don't like wheat beers. Now I buy IPAs, I'll drink them, I review them, but here's the only criticism I've got about them. It's not that I can't handle the bitterness. I mean, I can handle a high IBU IPA or even like an Imperial IPA. There's a lot of hop bitterness, a lot of malt, high alcohol, all that. But just my only criticism is when it comes to the IPA style, where there's just so many of them out there, and just every craft brewery has at least one IPA or two in their line, and they're just so run of the mill, dime a dozen anymore that it's just, they're good or to average. I mean, if it's just your typical run of the mill, I'll either give it like a C plus or a B minus, depending. But if it's a bit more creative and it stands out, yeah, I'll rate them higher. Like, I had a few IPAs here recently that did stand out. Like, the Dogfish had 75-minute IPA, which is a unique blend between the 60 and the 90-minute, and it also includes maple syrup in it from Massachusetts. That actually was an excellent IPA. I rated that one very highly, and I actually did a formal video review of it. And I have another IPA in there that I've been meaning to review. Is from a local craft brewery over in the city next to me in Johnson City called Yeehaw Brewing, and they have an IPA, and theirs I like because it's a hybrid IPA. It's not specifically a West Coast or a New England. It's actually a hybrid of the two mixed together. So you're going to get something very juicy and very savory, but you're also going to get something that has a great hop action. It's 6.7% ABV, 75 IBUs, and I actually did a written review of it on my Damien's Reviews page. I'll link it to you so you can check out my written review I've done of it. So yeah, I buy them, I review them, but
Wait, hey, Damien.
What?
Damien.
What?
Damien.
What?
that was just like a Damien.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. What?
Nothing. Nothing. Just bring me.
Yeah.
Where are you sitting? You're not sitting on your dining room table like that, are you?
I'm sitting on my kitchen counter, even though I can't be bugging chicks or.
No, not the girls.
You better disinfect that counter when you get done.
Yeah, I think
you better spray it down.
I'm always infected. I always say to people, stay safe, stay busy. Guess
right.
Copper Divining Rods, do you think this Motley Crew, girls is perfect for Michael? Yes. Do you think he should disinfect his kitchen counter as soon as he gets his ass off it? Yes, of course.
Yeah, well.
Rub it.
Yeah, so that's my take on IPAs.
Yeah.
IPAs, yeah, there are a lot of IPAs, Damien. They don't have enough. They have all this sweetness, but they don't have all this bitterness, and I feel like that's where a good strong ale, comes
now,
in.
when it comes to the craft brews, I definitely love porters and stouts. Those are my go-tos, but there's going to come a point to where
what about strong?
Yeah, I do like strong ales. I do like strong beer. Like, I don't stray away from high alcohol. I don't stray away from a lot of sweetness, a lot of breadiness, or a lot of hop bitterness. Like I said, I rate it according to style. I rate it according to class. I give every single beer I review a fair assessment. unlike most people who are either so macro biased or so craft beer biased, that I tend to be, right down the middle. If it's good, it's good. If it's shit, it's shit. I don't care what the beer is, who makes it. If it's good, it's good. If it's shit, it's shit. Enough said. But anyways, I was saying my final point is there's going to come a point to where, I do like the fact that people are looking more into craft beer and there's more craft beer breweries out there. But there's going to come a point to where anything and everything that could potentially be done with craft beer is going to be done. And there's going to be a severe lack of individuality and creativity after X amount of time. So that's probably going to be a long way away. But when it happens, probably the craft beer industry, it won't die, but just the ones that are the better ones and withstood the test of time, they'll become mainstream and become more popular, and those that aren't just won't.
Well, the ones that won't will probably stay local. They'll just cater to the your camera.
Right. So yeah, craft beer. There's going to come a point to where everything that can be done will be done, and it's just whichever ones are the best out of all of them, and the ones that really become like the model ones, or the ones that become like the standbys or the old reliables, like what we've got now with like Guinness, Sam Adams, Sierra Nevada, Lagunitas, all of them. So basically, they'll still be around. There will be an emergence of some of the newer local craft breweries in the areas, but just overall, a lot of them will probably die out after X amount of time.
Yeah,
which would be very sad and unfortunate, but sad but true.
You can only make so much profit locally. So I mean, like you said, the ones that will stand the test of time will drive all the miscellaneous ones belly up. Like for instance, every state must have several craft beer breweries, at least, or at least a few. And every Tom, Dick, and Harry who's an aficionado on craft beer that has money will open up a brewery.
Right.
I mean, there are celebrities like Eric Bischoff from pro wrestling. He was an announcer. He opened up a brewery in Cody, Wyoming. They call Buffalo Bills or something like that. He opened, but the point is, most of them are local, and then the ones that are going to excel. I'm in New Jersey. I'm in northeastern New Jersey.
Basically part of a New York City suburb.
Yeah, I said something, by the way. I said that how can you have social distancing in a way? New Jersey is the densest state in the whole country. How are you going to roll out social distancing? If you look at the third world, for example, social distancing possible. It's impossible.
It can be done as far as staying 1 meter away from everyone. It can be done, but it has to be enforced by the law because the people are dickheads. Because when I walk by Whole Foods and they're waiting online, they're practically inches away from each other. They're not 6 feet away. If I go to Trader Joe's, on the other hand, they behave. They're 6 feet away or more.
I feel like at Trader Joe's, they're trying to get you all the good stuff, but you got to behave. Though.
Where is you're Ontario. Are you near Toronto?
Sean, how is
suburb of Toronto? Ontario is a big province. You got Hudson Bay to the north. You got Lake Ontario to the south.
How are the ladies in Ontario?
You got Ottawa, the capital of Canada is Ottawa, right?
How are the
ladies I believe so.
I can't hear you, man. Michael, you gotta do something about your microphone.
Oh, by the way, Mike, not to sound like Michael Komarov, but what's the freshness date on your beer? Just for curiosity.
Freshest date on the beer.
Michael Comatose.
Well, I mean, it's just I like to at least know what the freshness date is, because if it's within the freshness date, then you're going to have an optimal drinking experience.
True. They don't really have. Just 2026 7/15. The sell by date is a loser. It's a loser.
Sell
All
by
right, so is it like a born on date? Is there a code or what?
I don't know, but for my judgment of drinking,
born on date. Now, Sean LeBro.
How are the ladies?
Now, have you ever heard the song on South Park? French Canada is the best Canada.
Yeah, I've heard that, but yeah, it's not just South Park.
Yeah, but
I don't know the date on this, guys.
Yeah,
I
but
try to look at
the people in Quebec really believe that. I think.
what's a guy got for a date around here?
Quebec.
Well, anyway, here's the freshness date on my beer. It says the freshness date is June 27th of 2020. So this is a really, really fresh light beer. And in the can, even if if it's stored properly, I've had beers like a year and a half to 2 years out of date in the can. And I noticed absolutely no difference.
And shit. So that's the whole thing about craft beer, is that a lot of macro beers, they know to give the person the fucking, James, they know to give the fucking person the sell by date. They know to give the SBD. Craft brewers, they struggle on giving the IBU and the sell by date. What's a guy got to do for a date around here?
Now, what happens? What would happen if you have, let's say you have a 6-pack of a $10 craft beer, which I think is a little steep, but a lot of people pay more. And let's say it's a month expired. All right. And it's ice cold. Are you going to turn it down? Are you going to say, well, I'm not drinking this?
Nah, not me.
What do you know? What would you notice in a let's say a 1 month expired good beer?
Very minimal difference. Like the differences become more drastic a year or more out. But then yet you also have to consider it has to be stored properly and it has to be kept out of light. Now, you can store beer in cans, macro or not macro, and as long as it's stored in the adequate temperature, they could be good for years. And hell, even some beers you can age, like some of your bourbon barrel stouts. Hell, you can age them for years, just like you would with a bourbon or a whiskey. So it kind of mellows out after X amount of time to where you still get that alcohol experience, but it becomes a bit more mellow. Because the one that I tested on was a Bud Light Strawberryta, the 8% malt beverage. The only difference I noticed a year and a half to 2 years out of date was it just sat in the back of my fridge for 2 years. I meant to do a review on it, but I just never did and forgot about it. And I was like, oh, this is in the back of my fridge. I forgot all about it. And
beer.
Yeah, and when I popped the top, I noticed it didn't necessarily have like a pop to it that most beer in a can would. So I was like, okay, so the carbonation level has gone down. But when I poured it into a glass, it still had pop, it still had fizz to it, but it just tasted a little flat. Not necessarily stale, but the carbonation level was definitely not optimal. But in terms of overall flavor, there was not really a difference that I could taste.
Man,
so yeah, I've had beer that far out of date, and there's not really been all that much difference. It wasn't optimal, but still, I still gave it like a B+ overall.
Wow. Okay, so Damien, what has you judge a beer? What makes you judge a beer? Is it the barley? Is it the malt? Is it the just what are you trying to get at? Is it how much alcohol is in there? I always judge it based off how much alcohol is in there. You know, if it's 80 IBUs on 7%, then I think that is not that much alcohol. So I think that is
Right, right. Yeah, I get what you're coming from. Okay, so when I rate a beer, like I said, I rate it according to style and I rate it according to class because I could say, what I was drinking here, this natural light. All right, so you go on beer rating websites like Rate Beer, Beer Advocate, they're going to give this beer a terrible rating. Like they're going to either give it like a 0 out of 100 or an NA, like so low it can't even score a 0. That's because those beer rating websites are a bit more craft beer biased. Like they'll give excellent craft beer reviews on good craft beer, but when it comes to just the regular
yeah,
old
they're not
beers that
bad.
most people drink, they're going to give them terrible scores. Now, that's how I rate. Now, when I actually do the rating, what it is that I do. So I look at the beer in its entirety, like whether it comes to the can or the bottle. I pour it into a glass. I look at the color, how clear or not so clear is it. And then I also look at the carbonation level. I also look at the head that it produces. Is it a thin head, a medium head, a thicker head? What kind of color head it produces? Is the color in the
But
is the
Damien,
color of the beer and the color of the head correlated to the style? Okay, so yeah, look at it like that, and then I give it the
what do
aroma
you think of this,
test.
Damien?
To what?
What do you think of what do you think about this red ale? This
It's
little
definitely fits the style. Looks more of a copper than it does a red. It looks more
a copper.
like a reddish copper than it does anything.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's definitely a thing. The copper ale. Copper ale is definitely a thing. I have that in the fridge. I have that in the fridge. It's a copper ale by Hopsy. So if you're big on beer, you should buy Hopsy, and you should get their Krups beer machine, and the
Hmm.
Krups beer machine will pour your beer on draft at home when you want it, and it's just totally freaking great. It's totally.
Right. So yeah. Right. So that's how I do it.
I
So I
sound
look at
like an idiot, but
look at the
I'm
yeah,
trying.
look at the appearance. I give it the aroma test. I see what kind of flavor characteristics come from the malt, from the
Look at
yeast,
this.
from the hops, and if they use adjuncts, I give it the aroma test. Then I give it the taste test, and then I put it through all its paces. What does the malt taste like? What do the adjuncts taste like? What does the yeast taste
Wait,
like? The hops taste like? All that.
I know I keep interrupting, but what do you think about beer and politics? Just I know that Democrats tend to drink beer, whereas Republicans tend to drink, strong liquor. They tend to drink whiskey, and they tend to drink bourbon, and it's just
Uh,
if a Republican could just drink beer for 1 second, because I've met a lot of cool ass people who drink beer, and they seem like like the least judgy people you ever came across on the face of the
then
earth.
you've never lived here in the South, man, because yeah, there's Democrats and Republicans here, but hell, some of the Republicans around here, they drink the
Because they're
macros. So yeah, they'll drink the Budweisers, Bud Lights, Coors Banquet, Coors Light, Miller
yeah,
High Life, Miller Light,
but
Pabst Blue Ribbon, and they also drink craft beer too.
yeah, but what craft beer? What craft beer will they drink besides like Sam?
Um, well, a lot of them
That's a good
they'll
beer.
drink like
Sam.
the craft beers that have been around for a while. Like they'll drink like Sam Adams or Guinness or
All
maybe
right.
Sierra Nevada or Lagunitas, something like that. Now, will some of them go to the different craft breweries and try the different craft brews? Yeah. Is it catching on here? Yeah, but it tends to be, more the predominancy is, the regular macros that have been kind of passed down because that's a lot of the way the beer drinking is passed down here in the southern states is, you know, the brands tend to stay a bit more in the family. So like if one family was grown up on like Budweiser, one was grown up on Coors, one grew up on Miller, or like one grew up on Pabst, it's just kind of like, well, my father drunk it, his father drunk it, his grandfather drunk it, and it just gets passed down that way.
Yeah.
Now, getting back to the way I was reviewing beer, so I put it through its paces. How does it look? How does
Beer.
it smell? How does it taste? And then Once I give it all that, then I see how the body and the mouthfeel present themselves, and then I also look at other aspects and I give it the final score. So when I give a rating, I rate it according to that style and I rate it according to the class. So like this natural light beer, for example.
Yeah.
It's my favorite out of all the light beers because it's everything you look for in a light beer, in terms of the appearance, the aroma, the taste, the price. So I give this 100 out of 100 for the light beer.
Okay.
Now, is it a world class beer? No, but for its style and its class, yes, it's definitely a solid A plus, no doubt about it.
I guess you have to rate it on the category that it is, James.
Yeah, you gotta keep everything. It's only fair to grade things based on category.
Yeah, so it'd be like, if someone went to McDonald's or Hardee's or Burger King and, they were disappointed they didn't get a world class eating experience. Well, I mean, you're going to a fast food place, so don't expect anything like 5-star dining.
You don't
Expect realistically 2, 3, or 4-star dining.
don't expect any aged Black Angus ribeye steaks at McDonald's.
Yeah, expect something that's just going to be, run of the mill, average, typical. That's why I said make your realistic expectations and say, okay, fast food, expect probably either 2, 3, or maybe even 4 stars. Because out of all the favorite fast food places I like to eat at, probably Hardee's or Burger King has got to be my favorite place. And Hardee's out there in California would be Carl's Jr. And the reason why I like those as compared to the other ones is they don't grill them; they flame broil them, which brings out a lot of the fat and out of the grease. So you could take some that may not be a high quality meat, like let's say 75-25 or 80-20, for example. You flame broil it, you get that grease and fat out. You're easily looking 85-15 or 90-10 cuts just by virtue of flame broiling. Plus, it tastes better, I think, when you flame broil it.
Yeah. Well, let's say you have an ice cold porter and you want to review it. Well, there's regular porters. Well, of course you're gonna compare it to other porters. It's only fair.
Porter, I never understand the difference between what's the difference between stout and porter. Stout,
I'll get to that here in a second.
porter is like,
Porter is malted barley, and a stout is roasted barley.
Yeah, and then there's also a difference. A porter does better cold. A stout does better when it warms.
right. I always thought that stout was about chocolate and porter.
No. That's the holiday style stouts and porters. Now, if you're going to review a holiday stout that has cinnamon and cocoa powder and stuff, that you got to compare them to other holiday stouts because you have all the flavorings in.
Zerdak.
You know what I mean? Like if it's October and you have an imperial, what's that shushing sound? Is San Francisco that windy?
San Francisco has a lot of Santa Ana winds, my friend.
It could be. It could be. I thought they have a lot of rice-a-roni. But anyway, let's say you got an imperial pumpkin IPA
Sorry, Damien.
in October. Well, if you're gonna compare it, you got to compare it to other pumpkin IPA. It's only fair. Oh, I guess Sean might have left. It says okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, you gotta keep it in the category it's in if you're gonna review it.
Yeah,
That's why I typically don't go on Beer Advocate or Rate Beer. Now, Untapped is a bit different. I do have an Untapped, and you can follow me on there to see what beers I review, and they're a bit more fair now. They're a bit more craft beer biased, but they tend to give the regular brews a fair shake.
Okay. Now your reviews, Damien, are they all uploaded onto your YouTube channel?
I think I did the upload. I'll go back and make sure because I know I've got a backlog of quite a few of them I've been meaning to upload.
Hey, Gary.
Hmm?
Hey, Gary. Are you Gary Owen, Paradigm Shift Craft Brewery?
Nope, that's not me. I believe my name on Untapped, if you want to follow me, is GDub94. So it'd be capital G, lowercase e, capital D, and then lowercase UB94. That's me on Untapped.
Dub 94. Now I see beer, I see brewery, and then I see venue, but I don't see user.
I'm just a regular reviewer.
It's weird. I'm trying to.
I'll link it to you because when I log into Untapped later on, I have some other beers I need to do my written reviews on that I've done video reviews on as well. So I'll link it to you for my Untapped if you want to follow me.
Right, and sometimes he reviews food.
Go.
Yeah, I do food reviews too.
My last entry was Bourbon Barrel Aged Columbia Supremo by Hardywood Park Craft Brewery, and that was from Trader Joe's. So if you look at that, so guys, if you look at that right now, and then you see my entry on that. So if you search it, Mike Hilton, not Mike Hunt. Not Mike Hunt.
Yeah, I know you. I know your name is Hilton, but did you do a video review of that particular?
I did earlier. Ronnie Simpson was live. And Ronnie Simpson. He was chilling with.
Ron Simpson. Ronnie S. Oh yeah, he's very right wing.
How do you? Yeah, but
all right. Well, I'm gonna go use the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Okay. Cool. But how do you think Ronnie is with the ladies? I feel like Ronnie with the
I
ladies.
don't know. No, he's married. Isn't he married or living with some girl?
I don't know.
No, he's got a girl over there. I see this girl walking back and forth behind his webcam. Every time he's on the show live, I see this girl sometimes walking back and forth.
Nah, don't do that. You don't gotta.
There's one thing I don't like. If I'm going live, I tell other people in the house.
As you told your mother one time, I think. Yeah.
Well, I explain to her when she was alive, God rest her soul, I explained to her in detail that I am going to go live in exactly 5 minutes. Do not call me. Do not walk in. Do not walk in. Do not tell me someone's on the phone for me. I am not to be contacted. Once I go live, I believe in professionalism.
Yep.
I believe in professionalism. Don't make believe I'm not in the house at all. And she said, okay. And she listened, because I explained to her in a nice, calm way. And I explained to her in detail. I didn't yell. Now, if she would have interrupted a live show, like some people
yelling, James, why are you yelling, James?
Well, because I believe in professionalism, and you can't be having girlfriends and wives and relatives, barging in on a live stream show on YouTube. What are the viewers going to think?
Yeah, what is this?
Yeah, what is this? I mean, some low budget Soupy Sales or Pee Wee Herman Playhouse or something show, a low budget comedy show. Well, it is a low budget show, except for the beer. I think the craft beer costs more than the entire production of the show.
Craft beer, buy 1 6-pack of this, and just you will be out on a dime. And it better be good because some craft beer.
What's the alcohol by volume on that Boatswain's ale?
The ABV on Boatswain from Trader Joe's, where you can get it. HLV ale, 7% ABV.
I'm back.
7%. Now, how big? How big? how big is the liquor department in Trader Joe's?
It is huge. It is huge.
They only allow 2 or 3 Trader Joe's in New Jersey to have liquor departments.
Why?
Why?
Is
Because
that
there are a bunch of ultra right wing friggin' zealots, like the people that started prohibition.
but Republicans act like they're gonna win New Jersey every time, and then they end up losing it by landslides. So it's
No,
Yeah, so I got to thinking.
not when Christie was in.
I got to thinking, like,
no, Christy,
I always figured New Jersey was more liberal, not as liberal as like New York or California, but still.
Now they're less liberal than New York, that's for sure.
way less liberal than California. We are liberal.
There's more social programs in New York than there is in New Jersey. That's for damn sure. And Massachusetts is.
Can I go off that for a second? How do you guys deal with the Me Too movement, and how will the Me movement?
What is the Me Too movement? Is that a feminist movement?
It's a feminist movement in which a woman likes to label a man a sex offender or a predator or somebody who.
Then they're lesbians. They don't like men.
They don't like men, so they like to as manipulative, as shit eaters, as guys who are nothing but low down, low grade pieces of shit. Face of the face of,
it's called an uppercut. A feminist.
toward a woman though. Hopefully not toward a woman though.
A feminist deserves a USDA grade A ham hock right to the face.
That's true, but let me explain this. Is that
explain it, Desi Arnaz. Explain it to Lucy.
Feminism used to be. I don't know. Get me wrong on this. Try to ding me on this.
Say those things about us, like Red Fox used to do.
Chrissy, bring me the big knife. I'm gonna slit my throat. But feminism used to be fucking, suffragisty. It used to be women.
They were fighting for honest agendas.
And
a woman's right to vote is more important than a woman going topless in New York City, which happens to be legal.
Exactly. So now it's become if a guy and a girl want to have a conversation, somebody else has to pune into it.
You mean a chaperone?
Yeah, they have to chaperone.
Yeah, for God's sake!
Hey, I got an itch in the middle of my forehead, Mike. Yeah, chaperone this.
Yeah, just for God's sake!
Get the fuck out of here!
I was on a date with a girl in high school, and this fucking lady, even though she looked hot, but this fucking lady, I was on kind of an instant date with a girl in high school.
Date? What is it, like Ovaltine?
What's that?
What is it, like Ovaltine? Like chocolate milk? What do you mean?
Maybe like that, but she's cool. Fuck. I'll say her name. Say Mrs. X. No, not Mrs.
My good friend Brian Slade got not only an instant date, he got instant intercourse in the same night he met the girl.
That's happened to me.
You know what happened? We went to a nightclub. We were in a diner. We finished eating. We were walking down the stairs.
But yeah, go ahead.
Walking down the staircase. Brian likes to wear tight black spandex shirts with gold chains. So he's a power lifter. So the girl starts rubbing his chest and his shoulders. And, ooh, I love your shirt. You look sexy in that shirt. So I told Brian, this is what I want you to do. Drop me off home. I want you to come right back to this diner and go inside and order something small. See if the girl is here. Come back to the diner. Just do it. So he did it. She brought him to her place, and he had sex with her. So my hunch was correct.
Yeah. What I'll say about that, I've had that experience before. I was making out with a girl on a park bench.
As soon as they saw the body contact with her, she's a strange girl, right?
Yeah, a girl approached me, and then a girl
rubbing his chest, his shoulders.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean, James. A girl approached me, and then A couple minutes later, we were making out on park bench. But what I will say, wait, what was
You see the
about?
flag come up when you get the signal. You go for the gold ring. You grab it.
Well, wait, but what was I
Oh
talking?
boy.
What was I? What was I talking about though?
You were talking about your boatswain's reddish brown ale.
No, but I was also talking about girls though.
Oh, the Me Too movement.
Right. The Me Too
Sounds like a bowel movement to me.
the Me Too movement has some validity because they are trying to get guys to leave them the fuck alone, and they are trying to get guys to stop harassing them everywhere they go. Because if you put me on screen, yeah, Damien's cool, but if you put me on screen, girls are, as James you said, girls are getting hit on every freaking where they go. It is a freaking nightmare. They can't just go from point A to point B and
No,
relax.
they get catcalls.
Yeah, and then the same guys on their social media, and they are telling them, "Oh, you're pretty."
Hey, honey. Hey.
And you could just say,
Yeah.
Facebook profile, by the way. Hey, would you?
Well, I can definitely tell you this much. My cat's not a feminist.
By the way.
Yeah, my cat Pixel, she ain't no fucking feminist.
Fuck feminists. Fuck feminists. They think that they know everything about how men and women
Hello?
talk. And what I'm saying is that how men and women should talk is what makes them feel the most natural in that situation.
For every peg, there's a hole. For every hole, there's a peg. God would, or Mother Nature or Gaia, whatever you want to call it, wouldn't have made a peg if there wasn't a hole to fit.
But you're in New York. I'm in San Francisco, James. And in San Francisco, James, we have to deal with this ultra feminist bullshit. And what I will say about feminism, I don't agree with Gary about Coronora, but I do agree with him on the construct theory. And when it comes to the fucking construct theory, I think that feminism, honestly, is a bit of a construct.
Well, it's more of a construct theory. Construct. I thought California was like they're all beach bunnies going, hey, let's go surfing, hang loose.
No.
They're not all laid back.
No, that is
the
not.
hell kind of California. What happened to the Beach Boys song? I wish they all can be California girls.
Well, you're thinking about the show Californication, which takes place.
What? Californication?
Californication, that's a TV show that takes place in Southern California. But that doesn't happen up in Northern California. And if anything, even in Southern California, you do one thing, you could get into trouble. I've had so many girls. It's not even a rejection. Just they give me shit. Just for talking to them, and it becomes a fucking headache after a while. You're like the parent handling a little child. You're like the parent handling a little child. You're like, okay, little child.
So in other words, what you're saying is the girls in Southern California are not the brightest bulbs on a Christmas tree.
I would say that girls in Southern California are fucking hot. But girls in Northern California, it's really hit or miss.
What about communication?
Communication is shot. Communication is shot because I keep trying to say over and over, and this is what I mean by you're kind of like the parent, and the child is whining, and
why don't you just tell them are you a California girl? Then why are you so negative and miserable? You're supposed to be laid back and good natured, like the rest of the country thinks.
Well, we live in paradise out here in California, but there is this whole adage. There's trouble in paradise. There's trouble.
There's a serpent in the Garden of Eden.
Yeah, I will definitely say this. My cat Pixel, she ain't no fucking feminist. But she is very independent and free-willed and does things for herself. But honestly, at the end of the day, I love her because she's my kitty daughter. Hey, Pixel, come here.
You know,
you want some pets? I'll give you some pets.
A male cat, you can play with them more vigorously than a female. Like a female will allow you to hold them and play with them for so long. and then they go, "That's enough."
Oh, Pixel, when she's playing with the other male cats, oh, good lord, she will manhandle Gigabyte. Like, she will pick him up and slam him.
Yeah, what's the whole thing, by the way? Just if a guy.
Yeah, she'll pick him up. Well, she'll definitely, like, hell, at one point, when they were play fighting, she bit him on the neck and, like, slammed him right onto the ground. I was like, oh, dear God.
What's this whole
Well,
of, like,
females,
like
cats are tougher.
I don't think I don't think it makes you gay if you own a cat. I don't think
No, female cat. It doesn't make you gay. Female cats are tougher fighters than, in my opinion, than male cats. Male cats are
dogs. By the way, you fucking know than dogs.
Yeah, male cats are more like playful and goofy, and sometimes they're just big, clumsy.
But you gotta let them approach. So kind of like women, you gotta let them approach.
Listen, you have crabs. I'm not saying you have crab lice. I'm saying I used to work with fish. You pick up a male crab. I know how to pick them up where they can't get you.
Big dive.
You pick up a female crab. Now crawfish are the same way. The females are ornery. They're like this.
Sorry, James. I did not mean to. I know you didn't want this show to be about women. It's just I know you didn't want this show to be about women.
Well, you talked about beer. I don't see any more. I don't see any new beers popping up. So you. This is all right.
I have more beer. I'm more beers to still going.
Why you feel like doing another review?
Oh yeah. I'm gonna chill another beer. So.
Well, you do another review, and
It's not ready yet. It's not ready yet.
Now, Copper Divining Rods, does Raisin Balls Bernie Sanders, does he have an obsession with trying to reform and save the Democratic Party? Is that why he keeps on kissing their ass? Is this some kind of a hippie thing? Like why can't we be friends? I love you, you love me, Barney the dinosaur. Is it like that? Yeah, you know what? People like that, they have raisin balls. Is it? Do you agree, Copper Divining Rods? Yes. So Bernie Sanders, even if he had the brains and the courage to win the election, he's not an alpha male. His wife is probably the boss, right? His wife is the boss. Jane, yes. Yeah, well, she's a big bruiser next to him. So he's a dork and a geek, like I always thought. Yes. And Joe Biden has mild dementia and he's a closet pedophile. You agree? Yes. And you agree that Joe Biden is not fit to be president of the United States?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, my mom, she came down earlier today because she was meaning to give Wyatt a Easter basket since we didn't have any plans for Easter. And me and her were talking about old creepy Uncle Joe, and she said that poor man, he cannot formulate a sentence to save his life.
Oh, no.
No, it's true. She's right. She's 100% right. She's true.
I said, I'll never forget old Shotgun Joe and his shotgun emporiums, just firing off 2 double-op butt blasts. She was like, oh, dear God, he's never going to live that down. Even she said it herself. I don't think I could handle a 12-gauge shotgun. And my mom, I mean, she's not a small woman by any means. She's like maybe 5'8", 5'9", probably about 180 pounds, and she says she could not handle a 12-gauge shotgun.
Well, he reminds me of he reminds me of Professor Irwin Corey, a comedian when I was a little kid. He had his hair like Albert Einstein sticking up in the air, and he was like a double talker. He used to, when he talked, you didn't know what the fuck he was talking about.
Yeah, and then also, just for some comedic effect, Joe Biden reminds me of Jeff Dunham's puppet Walter.
Oh man.
I think he'd win. I don't know. Call me crazy. I think he'd win.
If he does win, he won't win a second term. I'll just put it that way.
You better pick a really good VP.
Klobuchar.
Oh no.
Oh,
No,
no.
no, 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 no.
No.
Harris.
You mean I gotta listen to that nasal twang voice and that shaky head?
No, I feel like that's Deborah Burks. I feel like that's Deborah Burks.
Amy Klobuchar is a centrist capitalist all the way. She's a centrist, or she's a little to the right of center.
How do you get the sense of that, though? How do you know? I'm not
By
trying
what-
to ding you.
By what she said during the campaign, all the things that she said. That's how I come to that determination.
Yeah.
She believes in stuffing money in her pocket. She's a big time capitalist.
Kamala Harris, even though she talked about.
Oh no, 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 no.
Oh, she has a shrill voice.
I hate to say it, none of them are really viable options because
James, do that again. Do that again, James, with that.
No, they're corporate whores, Michael Hilton. They're corporate. I
What
call
about Warren?
Elizabeth Warren, that traitorous. She's a fake Pocahontas. Number one, she's not indigenous at all, and number two, she's a fake progressive.
Yep. And honestly, it's like Twiddledee and Twiddledum right now. We either have the closet pedophile with dementia and Alzheimer's, or we continue to have a Cheeto dust covered orangutan as president. And here's my Donald Trump impersonations, as well as my Joe Biden impersonations. And I do Donald Trump impersonations when I'm at work because people cannot stand him. Are you ready for this one?
Yes. Wait.
All right. So the key to doing Donald Trump impersonations. Here's what you got to do. So first, you puck the lip out like this. You kind of puck your lip out like this, and you squint them eyes like this. See, to where basically, if you Photoshop the eyes on the lips or vice versa, there would be like no difference. So you get this scowl on your face, and you go, people. You gotta love people that work for the Donald. They're wonderful, terrific people. They serve their country. They're patriots. If you don't like the Donald, you don't serve your country, you're unpatriotic. You see those Democrats over there? They're unpatriotic. They're horrendous, terrible people because they don't like the Donald.
And that's Trump. Now,
Yeah, that's Trump.
Now, Donald Trump and Joe Biden remind me of that movie Dumb and Dumber with Jim
Yeah, Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey.
Carrey. Dumb and Dumber, yeah.
Yeah, and they also made a sequel to it.
To review for you guys.
Well, the DNC better wake up and choose somebody else.
Wake up and they better sniff some beer.
Well, if you want to grab another beer, grab another beer.
Yeah, and then here's Joe Biden.
You know, if everybody just drank some beer, if everybody just chilled the fuck out for a second and they just drank some beer, everything.
Dale's Pale Ale. All right, let him do Joe Biden.
All right. So we have Dale's Pale Ale.
Dale's Pale Ale is next.
6 point. Wait. Wrong. There we go. There we go. 6 point. Chrissy, bring me the big knife. I'm a slip my throat.
6.8 IBUs.
5% ABV. 65
ABV.
65 IBU. 6.5. 6.5 ABV. 65 IBU. Using a very chilled pint glass from Samuel Smith. If you buy the Samuel Smith variety pack, you get three. You get 3 beers in there, and you also get a a glass in that pack. It's a 4-pack. Well, it's a 3-pack, but it has it in glass. And
I like Samuel Smith products.
Samuel Smith is good.
I always like Samuel Smith products from merry old England.
It's, yeah, exactly. It's not a blue bottle. It's not even a brown bottle. It's not even a green bottle. It's not even a brown bottle. It's a can of craft beer. Dale's Pale Ale from Oscar Blues Brewing Company. And that is looking for their fucking location. Their motherfucking location is in North Carolina and in Texas. So Longmont, North Carolina, and in Austin, Texas. They are in the middle of the country. Let's get into it. Cheers. All right.
Dale's Pale Ale.
What's that, Gary?
I said Dale's Pale Ale. It just rhymes so well.
Dale's Pale Ale, it is a fucking monster. Gary, you are looking for the finest beers. This is one of the finest beers. Even though it's a
I've had Oscar Blues before.
What's that?
So I've had Oscar Blues beers before.
Oscar Blues, pretty good. And it's not an IPA. It's not an IPA. But it still looks pretty freaking hot. Hold on. All right. There's a look. Orange. Bubble stock not rising. High body beer. Let's get the aroma. Oh man, not only is that citrusy, that's kind of mangoey. It's kind of mangoey. You're getting a nice mango apricot jelly feel. Let's get into it. Cheers.
Dr. Mengele.
Oh no.
Joseph. I think his name was Joseph.
Yep, known as the Angel of Death.
Yeah, well, we have the reincarnation of him these days.
Presto, fruit at the front, bitterness at the back end, good lace and good seaside feel. You guys would like this. It has a nice
let me see it.
jelly. It has a nice jelly feel on the back end of the beer. It has a nice jelly marijuana feel on the back end of the beer. So floral. It's not even 7%. It's not even 7%.
Let me see a close up.
Here's
There
a
you
look.
go. There you are.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's good.
Here's a look at the beer. It is Dale's Pale Ale.
Dale's Pale Ale.
Dale's Pale Ale is a pale ale, but it acts a lot like an IPA. It acts a lot like an IPA. They don't have the description on the can of craft beer. But what they do have. Okay. What they do have is some amazing aroma. So apricot-y. It has so apricot-y. So there's huge jammy presence on this beer, which tells me that it is very sweet. It is very sweet. It's very sweet. On the back, you're getting a lot of bitterness. It's awesome. And what we'll say about, social distance violating for a second is that I know a lot of people are trying to not stay home right now, and I know a lot of people are trying to not be home. But the issue with that is that you get out and you see other people, and you get too close to other people, especially because you are being too hyper and you're being too. I see, and you're being too intense. You're like a fucking rocket.
Well, if you're having a conversation with someone, sometimes you forget about the 6 feet away.
Exactly.
Sometimes
That happened to me a couple weeks back.
But it's important to raise your volume and
Yeah, 6 feet away though, and when I'm not 6 feet away, when I am 600 feet away, such as in the comfort of my own home, in the comfort of my own home, I can just drink this. I don't know why people can't just chill out right now and just drink some nice craft beer. I don't know why I don't know why that's such a hurdle.
I don't know why that my life, Damien's life, your life, everybody I know, all our lives are completely freaking different.
Yeah, but the
Life is
problem with this,
completely different, and it's not for the better.
yeah, the fucking problem with this quarantine is that the longer people resist it, the more it will go. Yeah, and I feel like Damien agrees with that.
All
The
right.
more people resist it, the longer it will go, the harder it's gonna get.
Okay. Now, what this doctor that I respect said,
Doctor
Z, he uses a nickname Z Dog or something because he has an exotic name. Anyway, the first priority is that the American hospitals are no longer overwhelmed.
Yes. Pre-corona.
That's the first priority. Okay, because you now that he took a walk, what you were going to do, Joe Biden?
Yeah, Joe Biden. He went over on time and I'm going top. Here's the deal. I can do more push-ups than anybody here. That's why I'm better fit to be president. I challenge you, Donald Trump, to all the push-ups. I guarantee you can't do any push-ups, man. With them small hands and that big body you got, ain't no way you're going to be able to do push-ups, man. That's why I'm better fit to be president.
And
that's Joe Biden.
And that's the only thing he can debate anyone on is the push-up talk. Because he did terrible talking about the pandemic with Anderson Cooper and this doctor over on CNN. They were making faces at him constantly because he was chopping up like Mom said, he was chopping up them sentences like you couldn't. It was like word salad. You couldn't understand. Word salad. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then let's see. Now to get back to what Mike was talking about, it's not necessarily we're resisting it for the purposes of resisting. We actually have a genuine reason to be resistant to the quarantine, the lockdown, because like I said, they've really yet to prove how or why it's really warranted or justifiable. Well, they overhyped it and they pushed it, and now the Attorney General, I think his name is Attorney General Barr, is even going as far as to say that, you know what, maybe these stay-at-home orders are a bit too draconian, and that we shouldn't be this strict on it just because really we've been so disproportionate. And the reason why people are so pissed is, as some of the protest signs have said, data over dictators. Because, as the data shows, they've overhyped it. It's really not as bad as what they want to make it out to be. And that really the lockdowns and the quarantines were not justifiable. And yeah, even though the Attorney General is saying this now, he's not saying it because, he really cares about the Constitution, our rights and freedoms. He's doing it just because everybody at all political levels, local, state, and federal, are in complete damage control because of everything that I mentioned earlier. Because they lied about everything, they got caught, they screwed the pooch, the cat's out of the bag, so now it's time to pass the buck, and it's time to do damage control. And they're trying to point fingers, name names, do the blame game, all that shit.
I do believe that some of the media has really blown it. If you want to put me up in full screen for a second, I do feel like some of the media has been culpable in just exaggerating a lot of what has gone down, and I wish that they would not try to go about this in a way that it is an epic front page story. I wish that they would just the way that they experience it. Time and time again, it's terrible that we have almost 60,000 confirmed deceased, but I wish that they would stop trying to act as if they're constantly projecting things. That's what they did in the 2012 election, with Barack Obama. And they kept saying how it was going to be so close, and then it ended up being close. So the media is their best or worst own product. What they say will translate to reality. It will, in some way or another, translate to reality. And so, if that is a fact, I wish that they would say things in the present moment and not talk about the past with the pandemic, Spanish flu. And you can call it Spanish flu because that's what it was, the Spanish flu. Or the future, just be in the present, just talk about things as they are. Don't be constantly trying to fearmonger others.
Right, exactly. But right now, the last point I was going to get at is the fact that now people are being so resistant to the quarantine and the lockdown, and they have every right to be, but now I honestly think the reason why they're not extending the quarantines and the lockdowns anymore because they realize everything that I just said, and that honestly, if they want to stay in their position, they got to cover and look after their own ass, which is now what they're having to do. Which is why our governor here, when I say that he illegally spied and collected data on Tennesseans, to change his safer at home order to a mandatory stay at home by using TDOT, the Tennessee Department of Transportation, to illegally spy on people using their cell phones and also their license plates on their cars and their vehicle data. That now Tennesseans are just like, you know what? You're not doing this for the greater good. You're doing this just to be evil, corrupt, and to keep perpetuating the system that we currently have. So basically, they just gave him a big fuck you and said that we're not obeying this because you've done everything by executive order. You've done everything wrong. No one's under any obligation to abide by or enforce this. So really, he's lost credibility in any kind of authority that he's got in the state. Now, local officials are just saying, well, by God, if he's just going to be this fucking stupid, then we'll just do what we feel is necessary, and rightfully so.
What, the governor of Tennessee, Bill Lee?
Yeah, I mean, he's really, really pissed off a lot of people by doing that. And honestly, it's not going to go away quietly. I was talking with another guy who lives in Tennessee that's part of the Alpha Males group. His name's Nathan. He lives in Western Tennessee. And it seems like we're in a bit of a consensus agreement that this is not going to be going away quietly. And Tennesseans have every right to be pissed off at Governor Lee. And that really, despite everything, life really here has not super drastically changed. Life has just gone on about normally. I mean, here's what I've said all along. I've never thought the quarantines and lockdowns were justifiable because they don't really ever work in the first place. Because you give them an inch, they take 10,000 miles. They'll say, yeah, we got to do this. But then yet, when it actually happens, they'll try to keep pushing further and further and further to see just how far they can push. So with these people, you give them an inch, they take 10,000 miles. So don't ever give them an inch on anything. If they ever say, we have to do this for the greater good or blah, 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 call on their bluff and call their bullshit. But anyway, what I was saying is, honestly, we should have never locked down or quarantined or shut down. We should have just lived life normally. If you got sick, you stayed home, you got treatment, and then once you were great, you came back to work. That's what we've done before. That's what we've done with every other thing. Why all of a sudden now has it got to be different?
Yeah, we had bars would be able to, before all this, they would be able to do limited capacity. And,
bars are going to start reopening. So now that today is Monday here on the East Coast, restaurants are now going to be able to be opened. They're going to be opened starting today at about 50% capacity. So you can still go into a restaurant and you can still sit down and have a nice sit-down meal, but it's only going to be at 50%, and tables are going to be spaced minimum 6 feet apart to maintain the social distancing guidelines. Now, Wednesday, they're going to start opening non-essential retail and non-essential businesses again, and they can open up at 50% capacity with the social distancing in place. But honestly, I really don't foresee that really going anywhere. Now, the last point they're also going to do is
like nail salons, non-essentials.
yeah, so they're going to do that, and then the last thing they're going to do is before there is any entry to these buildings, they're going to check your temperature, and you're basically going to fill out a form and a questionnaire. I'm just like, oh, for God's sake. Honestly, if this is how they're going to reopen it, and they're going to still even be nitpicking, be Orwellian nanny state pushers, then honestly, your best bet is just to just not go out and just do your own thing until they finally just quit getting their panties in a wad.
Fuck that.
Are they going to use a rectal thermometer?
Oh, if they do,
Fuck that
I will
shit.
say this. Yeah, they do. If they try to shove a thermometer up my rectum, they're going to get my foot up their ass.
Yeah, Nathan Bates has quite a gun collection as a hobbyist.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nathan is big on his gun collection.
James, how is it in New York? Because New York is the epicenter.
It sucked. No, New York. I don't like New York. New York is a cesspool. New York is the cesspool. Let me ask a question. Will the highly populated regions of the United States, will the pandemic curve ever really flatten?
Yeah, that's what they're going to say. They're going to say, like, there's always going to be this constant threat of COVID-19. Yeah, I've even heard some people say that really you can't create a vaccine for it. And even if you do, if it does mutate, then, there's going to be a whole new strain.
Yeah, but Gary, that's the thing. It is mutating. It is mutating.
All right. Well, here's how you deal with stuff like this. And they do the same thing with the common colds or flus. Okay, say you go get a flu vaccine or a flu shot. That's only good for one strain. Say it mutates. Then what? You're going to have to come out with a whole other vaccine? Your best bet is just getting sick, getting it, so that way, if you ever get it a second go around, it's either very mild and toned down, or you're able to fight off before anything ever really happens.
Yeah, we see what the Dr. Z Dog was interviewing a medical professor that from Philadelphia that actually makes vaccines, and he said, in order to make this vaccine or any vaccine, let's say you're going to do the dead version. It has to be dead, of course, but it has to be complete. So your immune system will quickly recognize the live virus, because virus is like a parasite. It needs a host. It doesn't wiggle like a tadpole. It doesn't travel. But it has to be, in order for your immune system to recognize the live virus, the dead version has to be complete in every way. And that's what he was trying to explain, was that the goal was. But that's what he does. He talks about the measles vaccine, the mumps. He says vaccines are not created overnight. They take a long time.
Trump said something where, earlier today, he was so adamant that the economy would open again on April 30th. And
he's adamant.
Now what he said,
have a brain.
He may open the economy within the fall. So when it comes to this virus, what Fauci is telling Trump is that basically you can't just curve the virus, you have to quash the virus.
Well,
and wait, Oh wait, but hold on a second. If you put me back on the back on this for a second, then
Girls, ba, ba, da, 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 ba.
thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You know how you have to talk to Trump like he's a child. You can't be nice to him. You got to tell him. You got to tell him like it is.
Oh shit. Okay. So, Mr. Trump or Junior Trump,
You
what I'm trying to teach you is that if you bring everything back to life, the way it was supposed to be, the way it always is, right now, is you will have a lot. I'm sorry to do this to you at your age. I don't really want to do this at your age. I really don't like to do this. I feel like I'm posing in a way, but.
Wait, are you talking to me or Donald? Or are you saying Fauci is saying this to Donald?
I'm talking to Trump. I'm talking to Trump. I'm talking to Trump infant. I'm talking to Trump infant.
Well, he is an infant.
I really I know that you want things to be this way. And I know that you want things to be back to normal, and I understand.
You sound like Elmer Fudd now.
I understand. But if you put me back on full thing.
Well, how big?
But
All right.
if you go back to normal, if you try to have everything back to normal, we will have. It doesn't matter if anybody supports it or negates it. All the power to you. All the power to you at the same time. But it doesn't matter if anybody supports it or negates it. You will have more. You will have more of this. Okay, so Trump, I know that you want to have everything back, and I know that you want to be this soaring guy, and I know you want to have everything at 8, 10%, 12%, up and above. But what I'm trying to tell you nearly and dearly is that you fucked up. You single-handedly fucked up. Let me take a sip of beer.
Well, he did fuck up. He stalled. Trump.
You fucked up this world that you. I think you keep saying it, so I will say because you keep saying it. You single-handedly created. You single-handedly created this utopian world, and you fucked it up. And now you are asking us to go back to Darwinian ways. You are now asking us to go back to Darwinian ways. Somebody tell me, especially with the lack of social awareness I'm seeing, how anybody possibly could reopen everything without the concern that people will just go back to their ordinary ways, and they will act the same fucking way that they have been acting all along. So Trump, I know that you want for everything to be similar, for everything to be simplistic, for everything to be, one fish plus two fish equals two fish. I know that you want that kind of
Three fish
scenario.
One fish.
If you put me back in this for a second.
Well, I gotta respect my other guests. Like
I know, but if you put, one fish, two fish, three fish.
In other words, was he really that nice? Was he really that polite to Trump? He doesn't deserve to be talked to.
I know Trump. I know Trump.
No, Dr. Fauci was really being gentle.
I feel like you are. I feel like I listen to you, and I feel like I want to listen to every single thing that you say. But at the end of the day, you're not listening Just simple facts and reason.
He never listens to
Last until June, and even after June, in the fall, it comes back again, and we don't know if it's gonna be a reverberation of the same thing, or if it's gonna be just a simplistic version of the same thing.
Right.
Up.
He doesn't listen.
I'm sorry.
He never.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I get exactly where you're coming from.
Shut the fuck up.
All right. Well, here's also further evidence to show that honestly, everything that we've been done is just complete utter bullshit. Now, to give fair credit where credit is due, Sweden never locked down, never quarantined, and they never shut down. Now you would think Sweden would be an epicenter of this virus outbreak. But guess what? They're not. They didn't shut down their economy. They didn't really social distance or quarantine or lock down anything. And even though health officials and scientists said that was a terrible idea, but Sweden called them on their bluff and said, well, yeah, the scientific community and doctors and medical professionals are entitled to their opinion, but they said our citizens are very healthy individuals, and we're just gonna just ride it out. And if you get sick, we'll treat, and if you don't, then okay, just go about your life. Well, guess what? It's worked. Guess how many deaths Sweden has had due to this coronavirus outbreak? They say that the numbers are 1,500, but I seriously doubt that it's even that high. So really just goes to show you that the more preventive measures that you take, like making sure that you actually have health care, treated as a basic human right like it rightfully deserves to be, and making sure that your citizens are physically and psychologically healthy, that you'll be able to outdo just about anything. Like, at this point, that just goes to show you that really everything we've done has been complete utter horseshit. That really we should have done more preventive measures in the first place, like making sure that our citizens were physically and psychologically better off than what they were now. Sadly, we wouldn't have had to have done this.
Yeah, people are fucking acting crazy right now, and I feel like this virus, that's what I feel like in terms of Trump. Just what Trump says is that the vaccine can be worse than the virus, or the cure can be worse than the virus itself. So a lot of people just be going fucking nuts. Just people can't control their dogs. People's kids. Hey guys, take a look at these fucking cows. Pretty cool.
No.
As long as you don't show any blonde hair on your legs. That's all
I got a thumbs up from Ronnie Simpson, but I feel like just, even though it may be pro-lockdown or it may be anti-lockdown, the whole controversy in this is that, again, even though Trump was campaigning against people who don't know how to unite both sides, is that we have failed. We have failed at getting two sides to unite in this whole thing. We have failed at getting two opposing political views to come together. So that we can try to, come together, move the fuck on. 50, almost 60,000 dead. But yeah, take it and move the fuck on. What are you going to do next time? How are you going to just be adults and handle this situation going forward?
Right. Like, honestly, now anymore, anything COVID-19 related, I just pass it by just because I know all along it was a pandemic, a scamdemic, and a hoax, and now it's fake news, it's old news, it's time to move on and focus on other things. So you know what I've been focusing on now? I've been focusing on this new game I got called Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'm now waiting for the whole entire Call of Duty Modern Warfare trilogy. to become remastered, so that way, I can continue my gaming and still do my life as normal. And then I'm still, looking at how am I going to get back into college? How am I going to get the funding? All that. So that way I can go ahead and get on the fast track, just get college done, and just go ahead and get to law school to be a lawyer. So that way I'm all done by the time I'm in my early 30s.
Yeah, and your tarot card diploma.
Yeah, I'm still working on that. It's just I've just been focused on other things just because this whole entire thing has sidetracked me in a variety of different ways. But yeah, just really any more just to save yourself the physical and psychological anguish. Just anything else that comes forward about it, I just ignore it, don't acknowledge it, and just move about your life.
Like the 50 to 60,000 people that died, that's connected to what you explained at the beginning of the show.
Right.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to, because we don't want to blow off. That's a lot of people. We don't want to just disregard them, but that's connected to what everything you said at the beginning. Then
can I just say though, what is it with people who say that Wuhan means that you're being racist? No, just no. Just the virus came from Wuhan, as far as we're concerned. The virus came from Wuhan, so it's called the Wuhan virus. The Spanish flu came from Spain, so you call it the Spanish flu. If you call a virus the American virus, I don't give a fuck. It's just it came from America. I'm not gonna be fucking insulted. It's a fucking fact.
Well, you have to name it.
People acting like trying to show it up on.
Well,
I don't fucking drop those people.
The coronavirus is a big family. This is a new version, brand new. That's all.
Yeah. The novel coronavirus. Yeah.
Right.
It's a big family. It's been known for many years. It's a big family. It's like saying, it's like taking all the Owens all over the country. Are you related? You related? Not really. It's a family.
Right. Well, I know my branch of the family, but basically, if your branch can be traced back to Floyd Owens, then we're definitely related because he lived to be 90 years old, had 3 wives, 10 kids with each wife. So he had 30 kids in total, and his 30 kids had a bunch of kids of their own. So our family is huge. We might know maybe 5% of our particular Owens branch. It's that big. But what James was saying earlier, before you had hopped on, as to why basically just now going forward, just don't acknowledge it, just don't even talk about it, just move on. Because of, I had explained that now they're having to do retractions of coronavirus deaths because some coroners in Pennsylvania are going, wait a minute. These people didn't die of COVID-19. They died of something completely different. So the real death numbers that they're posing are not even real. They're way overinflated. And then not only that, now we actually have a definitive answer as to why people are just dropping dead because of the new 5G technology that they're implementing and how they're weaponizing it. So the moral of the story is, if you're going to die, you're going to die. Now, there are ways you can prevent yourself from dying, and a lot of deaths that happen nowadays are preventable. But at the end of the day, this virus has, compared to other things that people have died of natural and unnaturally, nowhere even in comparison. The flu, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, smoking, obesity, you name it. All those are way worse than are real pandemics. And what's been the reaction? Jack shit.
Yeah, opiate addiction, all kinds of addictions, overdoses. So in other words, the media has been taking the total deaths of everything, like that death counter from Caverns of Blood. They were taking total deaths, and they're calling it corona deaths.
Right. Or they're just saying, oh, someone died of blah, 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 because of these symptoms. We're just going to rule it as COVID-19 and not allowing independent medical investigation into the bodies. That should be an immediate red flag of, okay, well, if you're trying to show people genuinely that this really is real, then why are you hiding independent medical investigation? And why are you having such a control over the testing methodology? And anybody who has tried independently testing it to see, what exactly it is, they're immediately discredited and shut down.
Gary, I feel like you would fit this whole equation in this whole thing. Just how are we not just a whole bunch of brains in a vet? How
Mm-hmm.
a whole bunch of brains in a vet.
We basically are.
Fuck, James, what do you think about that?
We're a bunch of brains.
We're a bunch of brains in a vet. We're a bunch of brains in a vet, dude.
Well, that guy Morg did a couple shows on what is reality. Past, present, future. What we perceive is that. What we perceive as reality is not necessarily real. He had some interesting.
Yeah, the movie Source Code.
I mean, I believe in all the various dimensions. I believe in parallel universes. I believe in a lot of things. Mysticism of all kinds. The real problem is the system is shot. Forget about Democrats, Republicans, whatever. The system that we have is shot. The capitalism only works for the very rich, for the top 1%, 2%. That's it. Period. And as long as we have a bunch of corrupt liars running everything, and we're getting lies from the media, which we learned in the past few shows. Things are not going to change. And you know what? You know what the people told Bernie Sanders when he asked them about why, how come Joe Biden is winning?
Yeah, but you know what? That's actually, you know what? You're right on that, James.
No, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. They asked, you know what they told them when he says, "Well, why? I'm just curious. Why Joe Biden?" They said that we feel that Joe Biden, and this is the stupid ass part. We feel that Joe Biden is much more electable than you are. He's more electable.
Wait, much more electable than who?
Electable than Bernie Sanders. They told Bernie Sanders, these are people in the Midwest, down south, regular folks.
I'm from the Midwest, but
these are Americans.
Won't bend their way toward anybody.
No, these are just. He just asked Americans at random. Why Joe Biden? I'm curious. Oh, he's much more electable than you. Well, what exactly? He was wondering. What exactly does that mean? That's more electable.
What pisses me off. That's what pisses me off about Joe Biden, for example.
But he doesn't. What does he stand for? All he does is go blah 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 blah.
What pisses me off about somebody like Joe Biden or somebody like Hillary Clinton is that they see. If you want to put me back up on, you
must dream about drive-in theaters. You like that big screen.
Oh, okay, yeah, I do like that. But what pisses me off so much about these establishment Democrats is they assume to know that their views are the views of 80% of the party. But if you look at how voting goes, if you only get 80% of the electorate out to vote, you are still fucked. So that happened in Philadelphia. That happened in Milwaukee. And that also happened in, I forget the capital of Michigan. I forget it.
I don't know. Is it Detroit? I don't know.
No, I don't know if it's Detroit. Capital Michigan.
Kalamazoo? No.
Wait, hold on. Let's search capital.
Nah, don't worry about it.
No, I won't worry about it because I want to
No,
know.
I'm thinking about why people would say a guy like Joe.
Lansing.
Oh, Lansing, Michigan. Yeah, why is Joe Biden more electable than a guy like Bernie Sanders? That's like asking.
Or Hillary Clinton, who was trying. She was trying to do her best to be progressive, while also being a woman, while also trying to appeal to conservative Democrats slash Republican lights.
She's not progressive. The Clintons are not progressive. Barack Obama's not progressive. They're not. The DNC is not progressive.
Put me back on. Put me back on. You know.
What's your last name? Trump? Wait, what is it?
No.
Oh, it's Hilton. I forgot.
We can't. Yeah, it's my cunt. It says my cunt. But we can't keep going about this popularity contest where the person who is the most experienced, or the person who is most liked, person who is most amiable wins. Just if you keep doing that, you will keep eating the Republicans' lunch while they take their lunch for free. Just every which way they go. If you keep trying to nominate these people who I think Biden could win, but it's going to be a long shot. And I agree with Gary. He's not gonna win a second term. I don't know if he's gonna win a second term on that chance. If we keep nominating these Democrats, John Kerry, Al Gore, Hillary Clinton, maybe Joe Biden, and we keep nominating them, they will be disorganized. And 1 second you are campaigning in states like Arizona or you are campaigning in a state like Texas, and then the next week you are campaigning in a state like Michigan because you felt like, oh, Michigan, we are up by 15, we are up by 20, we are gonna steal this. It is in the bag. But then you look at states like Arizona. You look at states like North Carolina. You look at the numbers again. You see that maybe you are only 2.8 percentage points ahead. Or that he is 2.8 percentage points ahead of you. And he's only 1% behind you in a state like Michigan. And you are wondering just what the fuck did we do wrong? So next thing you know, I'm on the campaign. And I am looking at, as a volunteer for the Hillary Clinton campaign, I am looking at why the fuck are we not in redder states? Why the fuck are we not in bluer states right now? Trying to defend our blue wall. And the whole fallacy of the blue wall is that the blue wall doesn't exist. The red wall does not exist. It is a fallacy and is a projection of what politicians think voters want every 4 to 8 years. So when it comes to states like Missouri or when it comes to states like New Jersey, these are states where the Democrats or the Republicans think that they have such a firm hold every red to blue years. And the funny fucking thing is, Obama won Indiana. Obama actually won the state of Indiana in 2008. He won it by a couple thousand votes. Trump won Indiana by a wide margin. Okay, in 2016. He could win it again by a wide margin in 2020. But my fact is, I think the Democrats need somebody who could be like Obama again, but not piss people off like James P. Madonna.
Yeah, but not Obama's a corporatist. He's a centrist, like Joe Biden and
He's
Clinton.
if you put me back on full screen again.
Again? No, what I was going to say is, whatever happened to a politician being judged on merit, what they've accomplished.
Put me back up on full screen again.
I just said something important. Based on merit. Based on merit.
So what happens now is you have somebody in power, and he is very controversial. He's very risque because he is not white. So because he's not a white guy, even though he registers as half white. You have a whole lot of people. Yeah, Barack Obama was actually half white.
He's half Irish. His mother is from Ireland.
Exactly. But that's still not enough. You have to have the entire legislature, swing from 2010 to all the way through 2018. Well, not 2016. As hard right Republican, and that's okay if you are opposing somebody who is in the incumbent party. That makes sense. It happens. It tends to happen in the midterms. But this is a guy who got health care. This is a guy who got health care for people who can't afford it. Who can't afford it. I'm trying to apply for health care right now. This is health care for people who are in states like Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, West Virginia. These are poor fucking people, and Obama is actually trying to defend them. He doesn't have any reason to, but he is trying to. And the fact that in the next midterm election, because he tried to pass universal health care, he loses 200 seats in the House of Representatives. Just, oh my fucking God. These are the people who are trying to ask for stuff like this. James, if you can ask this question, why would voters say, okay, we want somebody like Barack Obama trying to handle our health care, even though he's not a doctor, even though he's not really a politician. He's just been there for 3 years. Even though he's not really any of these things, we want him to handle our shit. Why would we not defect to doctors who are all of a sudden trying to rise to the level of politician? Like Rand Paul, for example. Rand Paul.
Oh, here we go. Rand Paul's a libertarian. He's a right winger.
Yeah, Gary's just shaking his head at that point.
Rand Paul's and his father, Ron Paul, right? Dr. Ron Paul, yeah.
Yeah, I would just pop my neck. I got a crick in my neck.
No, but the thing is, Obama, I know what you mean. He Obamacare really helped a lot of low income and poor people. Okay, but
let's actually define. What do they think about Obamacare? Is it a good idea?
I think I think single payer universal health care would be much better. No, burn. So anything from a socialist government would be better than Obama. But Obamacare was good. Don't get me wrong. It was good.
Let's do that though. Let's ask the divine rods. What do you think about?
Oh, I put them away.
Yeah, but wait, but James,
I put them away. No, it's a no-brainer. Obamacare did provide health care for low-income people. It wasn't like top of the line, but it was adequate.
Yeah, so now you look at the fucking coronavirus, and yeah, but
all right, it was adequate. It was mediocre, but it was all right. But what Bernie Sanders wants is what they have in Scandinavia. Everything he wanted. So why is Joe Biden, who doesn't say much but stutter and stammer, why is he more electable to the American people?
Here's why I think he's more electable. Because
okay,
I feel like he's more electable because even though he stammers and he stutters, I know that because I worked on campaigns for the longest time. So I'm not doing it now. Fuck now. But I am I've been on a couple campaigns, and I think that he stammers and stutters because he's trying not to act like the smartest guy in the room. And that's what Trump is trying to do. That's what Trump is trying to do with his fucking, all right, if you snort if you snort disinfectant, you will be okay. You will be okay. You will be okay. That's just what he does. So I think what Joe Biden does, and call me crazy, but I think the reason why he acts the way he does a lot is because he has a bit of a humbleness issue. So he's, even though he would probably kill Trump in debates, he would probably kill Trump in debates, and he would probably fucking eviscerate him. He wants to act like he is normal. It's because he's weighing, voters in the Rust Belt, but he's also saying to himself, how can I amplify what Trump did in 2016? How can I act like Donald Trump in the Democratic primary? Because it's still a primary. He still has
what will happen?
He still has to win that nomination.
My prediction is during the debates, Donald Trump will mock Joe Biden, but he won't be able to debate Joe Biden. He will only mock him.
I think
Joe Biden, Donald Trump is so stupid that Joe Biden will destroy him in debating. But the only people Trump would appeal to are the lowest common denominator that showed up in 2016 at his rallies, because he will,
like people who believe in
he will only be able to mock
stepmom daughter threesomes and things like that.
No, he's just gonna mock him. That's it. He won't be able to debate Joe Biden. I believe, even though Bernie Sanders is like freaking Nikola Tesla next to Joe Biden. Bernie Sanders would.
That's what's so sad, though, that even somebody like Joe Biden, who doesn't have the best charismatic levels, that
we're not charismatic.
Is that Joe Biden, who didn't have the best charismatic levels that Donald Trump has, is that he has a chance. Is that even he has a chance against Donald Trump. You know, sip on that for a second. We'll be right back.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up soon.
Yeah, because my battery's getting low on my tablet. I forgot to charge it.
Yeah, I think we've exhausted our subjects too. Yeah, Joe Biden will be mocked, but he won't be defeated in the debate. It's just that cut and dry. Donald Trump is afraid, very much afraid, to debate Bernie Sanders. This is what I heard. Bernie Sanders, even with the 2 stents in his arteries, is like an Energizer bunny. He's an Energizer bunny. He would mop the floor with Donald Trump. But Joe Biden, even though he's a little fuzzy in the head, he couldn't. He will out debate Donald Trump. There's no doubt about that. And Donald Trump will
I think Joe Biden would defeat Donald Trump in a debate.
I mean, listen, I don't want a centrist. I don't want more capitalism, but what are you going to do? I'm only one person with a red beret. There's nothing else. I can't do anything about it. America is not ready for change. This is the problem. America is afraid of real change, and real change is social.
What's your idea of change? What's your idea of change?
Socialism, democratic socialism, with the Our Revolution candidates, with all the new people that got elected, like what they have in Canada and Scandinavia.
How the fuck does America become a socialist country?
It can't, because Americans are dumber than a bag of rocks. They're
Yeah, but you're saying that America can't become socialist, but you're saying that America can't become socialist.
No, they have to become destitute and miserable, and they have to hit rock bottom. You know, like a drug user, like a drug abuser has to hit rock bottom.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's me.
You know, before you can have an intervention with his friends and family. Yeah, if he's not unhappy enough, he's not going to change. So as long as people are content with their lives, with this fucking fucking capitalism that promises them the world, you know, waving the flag attached to their fucking pickup trucks, as long as Americans hang on to that, their lives are not going to get any better. Do you want to listen, Mike Hilton? Do you want all your money to go to your living expenses, or would you like to have surplus cash to enjoy life with? Would you like to have that?
I know who you're reverberating now. Not fun. It's just no. Fuck that.
Now, what is capitalism doing for a young guy like you? All your money is going towards living expenses. You have no surplus cash to do anything with. This is what capitalism is doing for you. So where's the American dream? Where's all this pie in the sky?
Dude, I do feel like capitalism has served me well, but even though capitalism
served you well, did you inherit?
I'm looking for just something other than capitalism. I'm looking for something that could actually bump me up a bit.
You want to get bumped up?
Yeah, because
how about a step stool?
Karl Marx said about capitalism is that you can create the commodity, but you can't own the commodity. I mean, you can't own the commodity, so you can create it, but you can't own it, and that is what keeps people from being able to stick their head above the parapet. stick their head above the fucking parapet. Damien, what's your thoughts on this?
Oh no, he knows about Karl Marx. You
I'm
know,
calling other people out and shit, but still.
Well, that's one quote I've never really heard from Karl Marx, but since I know Karl Marx and his line of thinking relatively well, then I guess we can call this a wrap up. Um, saying that you can create the commodity, but you can't own the commodity. All right.
Own it.
So following Marx's line of thinking, that to me would indicate, all right, yes, you can make commodities, and yes, you can be a part of the means of production, but you don't own the means of production, if that makes any sense. That really you think you're
Yeah.
working for the betterment of yourself and for your society, but yet reality is you're not. You're just working to keep your head above water to make the bourgeoisie richer while the proletariat get poor. So
Yeah, or
I'll have to
even if,
look up that quote, but it would sound something like Marx would say.
all right, all right. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. All right, listen,
yes,
gentlemen, it's been a
even if you
pleasure.
make,
Huh?
even if you make just this awesome, even if you make, say, this awesome piano, and just it's such an awesome piano, just you have your black and white keys, it's just such awesome quality. Just there was a company that told you, that directed you, that assigned you to make that piano, right? So you devise it, and you concraft it, concraft. But you come up with it, and next thing you know, it is being shipped, not in your name, to people of youth descent, and they are going to learn how to play the fucking piano like nobody's boss. But you have no say in that because you were told to build that mother. You were not told to advertise that motherfucking piano in your name. You were told to build that motherfucking piano in your name.
Like when Michelangelo painted the Sistine Chapel, it was on consignment. In other
This
words,
is where I agree with Karl Marx. Because he's about, if you make something, you own it. If you make something,
Yeah.
you own it. And you have that identity to it. You should be able to advise, you should be able to advertise it. You should be able to own up to it. Why the fuck are we in a society where just when we construct something, we owe it to somebody else? If anything, somebody else should owe it to us because we fucking made it for them.
you know what happened to me one time before we end the show. I called the Salton Company. I had an idea. I says, "Why do you make an automatic yogurt maker with several cups? Why don't you just make a 1-quart capacity yogurt maker? You know, electric, automatic." I says, "Why all these cups?" The guy says, "That's an excellent idea. We're going to get back to you on that." He turned around and stole my idea, and they came out with a 1-quart capacity yogurt maker.
Oh fuck!
So there's your corporate, huh?
That is capitalism, my friend.
That's corporate America. That's capitalism. That's only one small example. Just like the restocking fee for defective products.
But
Trying to charge.
But on the other hand, the problem of Marxism is that everybody earns their fair share, and you are never allowed to try to earn your level, your status above the bully pulpit. You're never allowed to try to earn your way past the parapet. So
well, we have too many multi-billionaires. We don't need any of them. But anyway, gentlemen, it's been wonderful. I will see everyone.
No, don't go.
I will see everyone on Alpha Males shortly because I'm too wound up to go to sleep. So thank you.
Who wants to go to sleep right now? I don't want to go to sleep right now.
I don't.
me.
Overstimulated.
I don't feel up to it right now. But listen, it's been a great show. I always say that, but yeah, every show is a great show. Even the Red Pill show on Friday is unique.
With Dave and me at 8 o'clock on
Right.
and 11
Right.
on the East Coast.
Right. The only thing is, if I have other guests, I have to make sure that the viewers get to see everybody.
Yeah, but we also
Right.
have to talk about, the gender politics. And
Yeah. No, I put you on full screen on Friday. I always put you on full screen.
If I could ask you a question, 1 second, James. Just why can't a guy and a girl be friends? Why can't a guy and a girl be friends?
Even I don't have an answer for that one.
Why can't they be friends? I could be
No,
friends. I could be friends with. Look. I like fishing. I could be friends with an ugly broad that knows more about fishing than I do.
I don't mean that.
Why?
I mean still having intent.
Well, she has to be hot looking. I can't be friends with a hot looking woman.
No, yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to be friends with a hot looking woman. I got you guys. Why would
Yay!
girls up? No, why would I want to be just buddies with her?
I don't know what the fuck. Why can't they be casual? Why can't they be
casual? We are casual. Social distancing. Nobody's. No, I don't see anybody hooking up anymore.
Guy meets girl, PG-13 bullshit.
What do you want to do? The Kama Sutra? What do you want to do?
Well, if you want to put me up on full screen for a second.
But Damien's losing. He's running out of power.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go ahead and just put my tablet on the charger. It's maybe got 2% left.
All right, you know what? You have a short story, Michael Hilton. Make it short.
All right. Well, I'll see y'all later.
All right.
All right. See y'all later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So I was at a bar one time, and I was just hanging out, relaxed, all cool, and all shooting some meatball outside of the school, and I was just hanging out, and I feel like it is long term enough to discuss this. So what happened was I was eating dinner with my best friend, and we were just chilling. And one girl, she came up to me and she was asking me like, "Hey, isn't that the Chinese food?" And next thing you know, we are just on her couch, and we had a good time. We tried to give it our all. It wasn't the easiest thing in the world to do. I just don't understand this whole BDSM beta male orbiter, beta males trying to leave comments and trying to hit up a girl every time she posts something on Facebook. Let me take a sip of beer for a second.
You know why? You know why? Because they're horny and they feel that if they don't smother the woman, some other guy's gonna take her. That's the reason.
That's me. And let me explain that to you. Why that's me. Because all I have to do when I go out, and I know that I'm hijacking the political discussion, but I know that when I go out, all I gotta do is just go out. All I gotta do is just go out and participate. That's what I think Jimmy Fallon said. Just go out. go out of your house. Get the fuck out of your house. Participate. And I did that a couple of nights, and I've had some great. I won't name names, but those have been some pretty fucking good nights, I would say. Those have been some pretty good nights. And what I did is just simple. I have created a bit of a three-pronged approach for not getting too physical too soon, because I feel like that's where a lot of guys get very stuck, and I feel like that's where a lot of guys get very, oh, I don't know what to do, and I feel you, I feel you on that, bro. I feel like they get too hesitant. What I would do is I would employ the works of Tom Torreira of Day Game, Coach Corey Wayne, and then I would also just be you. So that's what I do. And I wouldn't get into any kissing or anything like that. No kissing, no touchy bullshit, nothing like that.
See, you remember the video that remember the video that Coach Greg Adams, the last one I posted, where he says the girl must earn your validation.
Yes.
You don't give her free validation.
Yes.
So what's happening is all these beta orbiters are giving them tons of free validation, blowing their ego up, and they're not even.
I don't understand this whole thing about how 48 guys have to get up on a girl's profile picture, right? And they have to send her, these sex pics, or they have to send her these.
Yeah, because they're out of their mind. They're like desperate, thirsty.
They're completely out of control.
Yeah, it's out of control. But listen, I want to go. I want to relax and open up my cell phone and let's say
you got some ladies.
Yeah, well, yeah, I got some. Yeah, there's some girls I want to talk to. Let's save the red pill for Friday.
All right.
All right. Okay. All right. Now